Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto was attacked and is offered power by Kyuubi part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. It was a quiet night in the village hidden in the leaves. The citizens were going to their homes and closing up their shops. Everyone stopped when off in the distance they saw death. The Kyuubi no Kitsune, nine-tailed fox, was rampaging off in the distance and headed straight for the village. Villagers started running the opposite direction in a panic as fast as they could to get away from the fox's rampage. At the same time, the Chunin, Jonin, and Anbu were rushing to the front lines to try and stop the fox's advance on their village while the Genin were evacuating the civilians. An Anbu knelt before the former Kage and current frontline commander Sandaime-sama. The Kyuubi has reached the walls of the village. What are your orders? The Sandaime was currently wondering where his successor was in a crisis like this. We will hold the line and buy time for the Yandaime. The Umbu left with a hi to inform the other shinobi. Front lines. Kyuubi was angry. No, he was beyond angry, he was livid. First he was being controlled by Uchiha Madara, then he is captured by the Shodaime and sealed, then when he is finally free he is once again being controlled by an Uchiha and their cursed eyes. He didn't want to attack Konoha. Hell, he wanted to get the hell away from Konoha and find somewhere to never be disturbed again. But it seemed Kami had other plans for him, which explains his current situation. He swore if he ever got out of the Uchiha's control he would destroy him the most painful way possible. Namikaze clan estate. Minato Namikaze, Yandaime Hokage of Konoha, Konoha no Kiroi Senko, Konoha's Yellow Flash, and the only shinobi to receive an SS rank bingo book entry, was currently conflicted with the situation at hand and wondered what he could do to stop the Kyuubi. Unfortunately, he would always reach the same conclusion, sealing it. The question was, who could he seal it into? He knew he could never ask one of his subordinates to sacrifice one of their children to become the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, and to make things worse, his son Naruto had just been born and lost his wife after the Kyuubi had been released from her. But could he really sacrifice his son to the life of a Jinchuriki with no one to take care of him, or look out for him? Yes, he would have to. He was the Hokage, and the village came first. Hopefully Sarutobi-sama could protect Naruto and raise him right. He grabbed Naruto from his crib and disappeared in a yellow flash to the front lines. Front lines. Sarutobi didn't know what to do. Everything they threw at the Kyuubi would do nothing but anger it more. He knew that once the Kyuubi breached the walls there would be a lot more casualties. All of a sudden a large object fell from the sky and pinned the Kyuubi to the ground. When the surrounding shinobi looked closer they saw a giant dull red toad comparable in size to the Kyuubi, wearing a navy blue vest and carrying a dosa blade at his back with the Yandaime Hokage on the toad's head. "We're saved!" yelled a random shinobi. "It's Yandaime-sama!" yelled another random shinobi. Sarutobi sighed. He knew with Minato here they would have a chance at defeating the Kyuubi. Then just as soon as they arrived, the Yandaime, toad, and Kyuubi disappeared in a yellow flash. Outskirts of Konoha. Far away from the battlefield on the outskirts of Konoha stood the Kyuubi, Gamabunta, and his summoner the Yandaime Hokage. Minato turned to address Gamabunta. "Bunta, I need you to hold down the Kyuubi while I seal it." Gamabunta responded, "I'll try and hold him down as much as possible, but he is still the Kyuubi. I won't be able to hold him down for too long." Minato nodded and started to a long sequence of hand seals and yelled out Shiki Fujin. When he did, the Shinigami appeared above him and reached for the Kyuubi, who was struggling frantically to get away from the Shinigami, but was too late as the Shinigami reached inside Kyuubi and ripped out its Yin chakra. With its Yin chakra sealed inside Minato, the Kyuubi was reduced in size, and Minato used this chance to seal the Kyuubi's Yang chakra and yelled out Hack no Fuin Shiki, completely sealing the Kyuubi in Naruto. Minato looked at his son with tears in his eyes. "I'm sorry it had to be this way, Naruto. I wish I could be here to protect you, but I hope the villagers treat you like the hero you are. Know that I will always be proud of you." With his last words, Minato Namikaze died and his soul was devoured by the Shinigami. This is the scene Sarutobi walked in on. A dead successor, a crying baby, and destruction all around. He automatically knew what had happened, as it was obvious considering that the child still had the seal pulsing on its stomach. Konoha Council Room. 2 hours later. Sarutobi Hiruzen was walking into the council room to receive a damage report of the village in the aftermath of the Kyuubi attack. Once all the council members were gathered, Sarutobi cleared his throat to get their attention. "Now that we are all here, what is the situation of the village?" asked Hiruzen. Konoha's chief merchant answered Sarutobi. "The attack made by the Kyuubi has crippled the financial district and reduced out revenue by 40%. Sarutobi nodded. "How many casualties, both shinobi and civilian?" Muramune Takanobu, Konoha's executive of the Medic Nin program, Spoke next. We have lost a total of 60,000 people in the Kyuubi attack, over 46% of Konoha's total population. Of the 60,000 people dead, 18,000 were shinobi and the rest were civilians. Sarutobi nodded sadly again. Very well, now with the damage report finished, I can guess you would all like to know how the Kyuubi was defeated? Everyone in the council room nodded their heads. The Yondaime was not powerful enough to kill the Kyuubi. No one would be able to kill the Kyuubi because Biju are only large masses of chakra with a conscious. Knowing this, the Yondaime did the only thing he could do. He sealed it into someone with Uzumaki blood. The only Uzumaki that was known was Uzumaki Kushina. She had given birth to a boy today, as such the new container is of Uzumaki blood. Sarutobi thought if he should tell them who Naruto's father was. Let's see how they react to Naruto being the new container. If they call out for his death, I won't tell them. All of a sudden the council room erupted in rage. The civilian council called for Naruto's death while the shinobi council stayed silent. We must kill the demon, yelled one civilian council member. Kill the demon. It must not be allowed to exact its revenge, yelled another. The civilian side continued to call for blood for a good 5 minutes until Sarutobi released a large amount of Ki to quiet them down. Sarutobi knew this would happen. He kicked himself for letting the civilian side know about Naruto's Jinchuriki status. Nothing he could do now except hope everything works out for the best. He was especially wary of the looks the war hawk Danzo and the power-hungry Uchiha Fugaku were giving Naruto. Now that you all know of his status as a container, the next order of business is a new Hokage. Since I am the only one qualified to rebuild Konoha, I believe I will step back up to the position, said Sarutobi. I think you aren't the only one qualified to take the position of Hokage. I am another good candidate for the position of Hokage, interrupted Danzo. That may be true, Danzo, but right now the village is in a panic. If I take the chair of Hokage again, the people will calm down knowing that someone as experienced and respected as me is leading them again away from the dark times we are experiencing, countered Sarutobi. Everyone in the council room nodded in agreement. Danzo just scowled at Sarutobi. You win this round, Sarutobi, but I will make sure that I have the Kyuubi on my side, thought the Warhawk. Hokage-sama, now that we have elected a new Hokage, who will take care of the Kyuubi container? Asked Uchiha Fugaku. As of now, young Naruto-kun is an orphan like so many others in the aftermath of the Kyuubi attack, answered Sarutobi. Then I petition that the boy be given to the Uchiha clan for adoption, since it is that he is an orphan, said Fugaku. I think the boy should be better trained as a weapon. He contains the most powerful of the Biju and could be a valuable asset for the village. I ask that the Kyuubi container be placed under my care so that he can be trained as a weapon for the village, said Danzo. No, Danzo, I will not give you the boy to train to be an emotionless killer at a young age, and I won't give him to you, Fugaku, since it would upset the balance of power between clans, answered Sarutobi. Danzo narrowed his eyes. Then what will you do with the boy, Hiruzen? Young Naruto-kun will be placed in the orphanage until he is old enough to be placed in an apartment, answered the Hokage. Danzo scowled but nodded nonetheless. He would have to wait until he got his hands on the Kyuubi container. Naro Shikaku asked Hokage-sama, what will we do with the civilian masses? They will undoubtedly call for the child's life. Sarutobi thought for a few seconds before he gave his answer. From this point on, young Naruto-kun's status as the Kyuubi container is an SS rank secret. Anyone that breaks it will be executed on the spot with no trial. Sarutobi dismissed the council and hoped he had done enough to help Naruto grow up as a normal boy. Kyuubi's cage during the meeting. Kyuubi watched the meeting from his cage inside the seal with interest, mostly because they would be deciding his fate. When the meeting ended, he knew that he would be safe for the time being, but he also knew that humans were very predictable, and he had no doubt that the civilian council members would most likely try to assassinate his container. He would have to prevent that, or else he would die as well, because without his Yin chakra it might not have enough strength to reform. Typical humans, always afraid of what they don't understand. Then again, this could be fun. Once this kid is old enough, I will be able to train him, and then I will show them the demon they despise so much, and what better way to show them than by having the son of their precious Yondaime Hokage destroying them. Ha ha ha. Kyuubi began contemplating the ways he would be destroying Konoha in the future. 6 years later. Naruto was sadly walking down the street. He had just been kicked out of the orphanage because that matron had said demons aren't allowed here anymore. He didn't understand why she called him a demon. He was just a kid like all the others at the orphanage. The matron never let him learn how to read or write because she would always saw demons don't deserve to learn how to read or write. She didn't even give him enough to eat, and he would sometimes go to bed hungry. He didn't want to remember the times when he would wander the village and have a mob go after him almost every time and leave him beaten and injured. He tried to forget all the bad times he had there. He then started remembering all the good times he had. He remembered the kind old man that would visit on his birthday and take him out for ramen, and the kind ramen cooks that would always serve him with a smile. He would always leave the ramen stand with a smile. While he was reminiscing, he hadn't noticed that he stepped into the slums of the village and had a couple drunks following him. He snapped out of his daydream when he felt a bottle shatter next to him. He turned to see a group of 6 drunks running and yelling at him. "It's the demon, get him!" one drunk slurred. "Don't let him get away!" yelled another. Needless to say, Naruto started running as fast as he could to get away from the drunks until he turned a corner and found himself in an alley trapped with no escape route. He was first hit by a bottle in the side of the head. He felt he was bleeding a lot and yelled in pain. Another got closer with a bat and hit him in the gut. Naruto hunched over and fell on his stomach in pain, then everything went black. Naruto's mindscape. Naruto was currently walking through a sewer where the water reached his knees. He had no idea where the hell he was and started exploring, hoping to find out. He suddenly heard a deep voice calling out to him. He followed the voice and reached a room with a large cage in front of him with the kanji 4 seal on the door. "Come closer." Naruto obeyed the voice and soon saw 2 red slit eyes looking at him. Kyuubi then asked him, "Do you know who I am?" Naruto looked at the creature more closely and saw aside from his eyes he also had the body of a fox and 9 swishing tails behind him. He started thinking and remembered a creature matching this description in a book he has read before the matron had taken it away. Naruto knew what this creature was and what it did, so he answered with as much courage as he could muster, "You're the Kyuubi no Kitsune." Kyuubi just looked at him and grinned before talking. "I'm glad you know who I am. It will make what I am about to tell you easier. You are going to die." Naruto just looked at him in shock. "What do you mean I'm going to die, and where am I?" Kyuubi started explaining. "We are in your mindscape. You came here after you blacked when those humans attacked you." Naruto started remembering what had happened and realized something. "Wait, so you mean I'm still alive?" "Very good, kid. Yes, you are still alive, and I called you here because I want to help you survive and protect yourself." "Help me? How are you going to help me? You're stuck in a cage?" asked Naruto. "That may be true, but I can still give you my chakra to help you fight. All you need to do is rip off a little part of the seal. Aside from being able to use my chakra, you will also gain my heightened sense of smell and hearing, and we will also be able to communicate through the seal. So hurry up and rip off part of the seal and kill these worthless humans," said Kyuubi, losing his patience. Naruto suddenly remembered his proclamation to the old man. Flashback. Naruto was currently inhaling his ramen with the Hokage sitting next to him. "Gigi, what's that funny hat on your head? You're always wearing it?" asked Naruto curiously. Sarutobi turned to face Naruto and said, "This hat, Naruto-kun, is the hat of the Hokage." Naruto looked at the Sandaime, confused. "What's a Hokage?" "The Hokage is the strongest shinobi in the village, Naruto-kun," proclaimed Sarutobi with his chest puffed out. It deflated when Naruto responded, "But you're really old. How are you the strongest shinobi in the village?" Sarutobi just chuckled at his response. "Well, Naruto-kun, the Hokage is also the person who everyone acknowledges and protects the entire village and villagers from danger." Naruto just beamed at what Sarutobi had said. He had always wanted to be acknowledged by the villagers instead of being glared at by looks of hate. That's when Naruto made his proclamation. "Awesome, you better watch out, Gigi, because I'm the one who's going to take that hat from you and become the next Hokage. That's a promise." Sarutobi chuckled before responding, "I hope, Naruto-kun, I can see that you have the will of fire burning brightly in you." End flashback. "I don't want to kill them. I promised I would protect them and become Hokage," yelled Naruto. Kyuubi then lost his patience. "Why would you protect them? They are trying to kill you. You should be returning the favor. When are you going to realize that they will always hate you as long as I am with you? You will never be Hokage because they will always hate you. You should make them fear you, make them pay. That fool Sarutobi doesn't care about you, otherwise he would never have let these fools hurt you and despise you." Naruto just started digesting everything Kyuubi had told him and realized he was right. The villagers would always hate him and never acknowledge him because he would always be seen as the demon he imprisoned. That was when Naruto finally lost the hope and realized that only Kyuubi would be looking out for him, and no one else. It was him and Kyuubi against the world. He then approached the cage and reached for the seal and ripped off a small piece. He was suddenly overcome with a feeling of immense power and bloodlust. He then noticed he was waking up. Alley. Inside the alley, the 6 drunks were currently kicking Naruto while he was unconscious. All of a sudden there was a bright red light accompanied by an immensely evil power that threw the drunks away. In the alley stood Naruto, but there were changes to his appearance, like his longer fangs, his whisker marks darkened, his hands turned into claws, and he was surrounded by a cloak of red chakra that took the form of a fox with a single tail swishing behind him. He wasted no time feeding his bloodlust and extending his hand and sending a chakra claw to grab the closest villager. The villager screamed in pain as the chakra claw burned his body before he was crushed and thrown away like trash. Naruto moved on to the next two drunks. He slammed his hands in the ground and two massive chakra claws erupted from the ground and grabbed their head before squishing them like grapes. There was blood all over the street and on Naruto's clothes. He was going to kill the remaining three when a voice spoke to him. Kid, you need to finish off these three quickly. I can sense the Hokage and a couple more coming this way. Naruto mentally nodded, using his advanced speed to quickly slice the last three drunks' heads off before leaving the area and dispelling his chakra cloak. Outskirts of Konoha. What now, Kyuubi? Asked Naruto. We should leave the village for a while until the village calms down. While we're out, we can start your training and call me Kurama. That's my name, explained Kurama. Naruto nodded while running out of an unguarded gate and making his way into the forest. Normally he would be exhausted by now, but Kurama was pumping small amounts of yuki into his body to fight the exhaustion. He was told by Kurama to lose his scent by jumping into a stream and washing the scent of blood off to throw off any pursuers that would go after him. He made it about 15 miles before collapsing into a cave, exhausted and hungry. Kurama decided to use this time to make him an interesting offer. Head kid, I was wondering if you want a Kekkai Genkai. Naruto looked confused. What's a Kekkai Genkai? Kyuubi's sweat dropped. He should have known he would say that he was only a kid. He sighed and started explaining what a Kekkai Genkai was to Naruto. A Kekkai Genkai is the abilities passed down genetically within specific clans. Kekkai Genkai abilities that work using a person's eye are called dojutsu. Other Kekkai Genkai include mixing one type of elemental chakra with another, creating a new one unique to the users, which is usually impossible for normal ninja, or other bodily manipulations that are usually unachievable by normal standards. Some dojutsu are the Byakugan, Rinnegan, and the Sharingan. Some elemental Kekkai Genkai are ice release, wood release, magnetic release, storm release, lava release, dust release, and boil release. When he was finished, he could tell Naruto was amazed. How is that possible? You said that they are genetically made for specific clans? Asked Naruto. Kurama just gave him a grin before responding, well, part of me being the Kyuubi is that I am able to use my chakra and rearrange and add new genes to your DNA, so I could give a new Kekkai Genkai. But I can only give you one because changing DNA is very dangerous, painful, and require a lot of chakra. When you are older, I might be able to give you another one. So what do you say? Naruto thought a lot about what Kyuubi was saying and decided that it would be cool to have a new power, so he agreed to it. But he told Kurama to surprise him on what Kekkai Genkai he would get. Alright, get ready, this is going to be painful. Oh, and you will probably be unconscious for a couple days, Kurama warned. Naruto mentally nodded before leaning down against the wall and feeling extreme pain before passing out. Massacre scene. Sarutobi Hiruzen was having a bad day. First, he started the day with a mountain of paperwork. Then when he was leaving the office, he felt the same power that he felt on one sad day 6 years ago. When he arrived at the scene accompanied by a squad of ANBU, he couldn't believe what he saw. There in the middle of the street there were the bodies of 6 people. 3 of them had their heads sliced off, 2 had their heads crushed, and the final one had had his body crushed. It looked like a bloodbath, but whoever did it was nowhere to be seen. Sarutobi turned to one of the ANBU to give him orders. Inu dog, I need you to find and bring Naruto Uzumaki to me, commanded Sarutobi. The silver-haired ANBU left with a hi and went to track down Naruto. Sarutobi knew what this meant. He would have to call a council meeting and inform them of this, and they would demand his head, which he wasn't sure if he could stop them this time. This was a tight predicament he was in, and he hoped he could get Naruto out of it because he was like a grandson to him. He left to call a council meeting so he would have the excuse that he already told them of the situation, instead of them using this to further undermine his authority. With Inu dog. In Konoha there were only a handful of people that knew Naruto's true heritage as the son of Minato Namikaze and Uzumaki Kushina, Jiraiya of the Sannin, the Sandaime Hokage, and Hatake Kakashi. Kakashi always saw Naruto as the son of his late sensei, and not a demon like the majority of Konoha. Kakashi always wanted to repay his sensei by taking care of his son, but the Sandaime stopped him from adopting Naruto because he thought Naruto being an orphan would be better for everyone. Look at the situation that brought. Naruto was isolated and abused for the first 6 years of his life, and it seems that today he finally snapped and killed his attackers, thought Kakashi. I hope I can find him soon, thought Kakashi as he continued deeper into the forest following the scent of blood. Konoha Council Room. The civilians were in an uproar. After Sarutobi had told them what happened with Naruto, they acted as expected with demands of his head and his imprisonment. The shinobi side was quiet. Danzo and Fugaku were thinking of ways to turn this in their favor, while the other clan heads were silently hoping Naruto isn't losing control. Finally, the civilians were silenced with a blast of ki from the Sandaime. We cannot jump to conclusions as an investigation is underway, and we will find out if it was murder or self-defense on young Naruto-kun's part. The civilians didn't like his response and went into an uproar again, only to be silenced once again by the Sandaime's killing intent. The room was silent for a few moments until Danzo broke it. Hiruzen, what will you do the child should he be found guilty of murder? I request that if he is guilty, he be turned over to me to be give emotional training. Sarutobi responded with a frown. No, Danzo, if he is found guilty, which I find highly unlikely, he will be given the same punishment all civilians are given. With that said, Sarutobi dismissed the council and headed to his office. Naruto's Mindscape. Naruto woke up back in front of the cage that jailed Kurama. He didn't know what happened until Kurama started explaining. Don't worry, kid, you're alright, you just fell unconscious after I started rewriting your DNA. While you're here, I want you to sign this. Kurama placed the scroll with the kanji for fox on it in front of Naruto. It's the fox summoning contract so that you can call my kin to help you in battle, explained Kurama as Naruto signed the contract. Awesome, this is going to be awesome. By the way, did you decide what bloodline you are going to give me? Asked Naruto curiously. Kurama just gave him a foxy grin before answering. You know, the body of an Uzumaki is truly amazing. Any normal human would most likely be killed if I tried to change their DNA. But I was able to give you 2 bloodlines before your body would start to shut down. Naruto just looked at him in disbelief. 1 bloodline would have been awesome, but 2 would just make him crazy with excitement. Stop stalling, which did you give me? Asked Naruto, barely able to keep his excitement contained. You should consider yourself lucky. Normally I would hate these 2 bloodlines I'm giving you. But I want to see the looks on the faces of those damn villagers when you reveal the 2 bloodlines of their most prestigious clans, grinned Kurama. You mean? Naruto was interrupted by Kurama, who finally told him. That's right, I gave you the Mokuton bloodline of the Shodaime Hokage and a fully matured Sharingan, answered Kurama with a little venom in his voice when he mentioned the Uchiha clan's bloodline. Naruto was just speechless. The 2 strongest bloodlines in the world, Mokuton and the Sharingan, and he was able to use them both at the same time. He couldn't wait to wake up and start training. So how long have I been unconscious? Asked Naruto. Around 2 days, don't worry, you should be waking up any second now, said Kurama. With that, Kurama went back to sleep and Naruto waited to wake up and train with his new powers. With Inu Dog. Kakashi had been tailing Naruto and the scent ended when they reached a river. He continued searching for 2 days only to find nothing and start heading back to Konoha to report to the Hokage. He couldn't believe how he failed. He felt he failed his sensei by not protecting his legacy. As he made his ways back to Konoha, he could only hope that Naruto would return to the village. With Naruto. Naruto had just woken up and he was feeling amazing. Not only did he have 2 new bloodlines, he was going to start training today. Kurama told him how he had a large amount of chakra and already had low Jonin reserves at the age of 6 due to him being sealed inside him. Currently, Naruto was practicing the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, shadow clone technique. Kurama said if he could master this jutsu, it would make training 10 times easier. Kurama-sensei, when do you think I can start training with my bloodlines? Asked Naruto. Soon. First, we will need to break into the Uchiha and Senju compounds and look for information on how to properly use them. After a few hours of training, Naruto finally mastered the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu and collapsed in exhaustion. Kid, tomorrow we should go back to the village, so we can continue our training. Alright, we'll leave tomorrow morning, responded Naruto before falling onto the sweet bliss of sleep. Next day, Hokage Tower. The next afternoon, the Sandaime Hokage was sitting at his desk reading a small orange book with a perverted smile and a small nosebleed. He was so into the book, he never noticed the figure in front of his desk. I never knew you were a pervert, GG, smirked Naruto. Sarutobi paled when he looked over his book and saw a smirking Naruto with his hand crossed over his chest. The Sandaime quickly composed himself and tried to save what little dignity he had by hiding the book and looking as if nothing happened. Naruto's sweat dropped when Sarutobi put the book away and whistled as if nothing happened. Naruto decided to move on and began talking. I guess you want to know what happened, right? The old Hokage looked at him and nodded his head. Well, let's start at the beginning. When I was kicked out of the orphanage, I was wandering the streets, and 6 drunks came out of nowhere and started chasing me. I tried to get away, but I was forced into an alley and got knocked out. Then I woke up somewhere far away in the forest. Naruto hoped the old Hokage would buy his story. This morning he had been told by Kurama to no mention his involvement or their conversation. The old Hokage was listening intently to every word Naruto said, and when Naruto finished he took a large drag from his pipe. The Sandaime decided to believe Naruto and put his faith in him. Very well, Naruto-kun, I'm sorry that you got kicked out. I have already made arrangements for you in a new apartment, said the Sandaime, relieved that Naruto hadn't killed those men on purpose and handing him the keys and address to the apartment. Gigi, I have a request, asked Naruto. The Sandaime's ears perked up. What kind of request, Naruto-kun? I want to enroll in the academy and learn how to be a ninja, lied Naruto. He didn't need the academy to learn how to be a ninja, but he did need an excuse of how he was becoming more powerful. Very well, Naruto-kun, I will enroll you next semester in 4 months. Until then you will have some free time. Thank you, Gigi. Naruto bowed before he left with a smirk on his face. After Naruto left, Sarutobi had taken out his book out once again and started giggling perversely with a small trickle of blood going down his nose. 4 months later. Over the past 4 months, Naruto had used the time to train with the help Kurama and Shadow clones. He had started by improving his chakra control by making dozens of clones perform the tree and water walking exercises. He would then do physical exercises himself because clones couldn't transfer physical activity back to the original. While the clones did the exercises, he would have Kurama take the consciousness of a clone and have it teach him the basic of Kitsune-style taijutsu, which would depend on quick, devastating attacks before withdrawing. Kurama also started teaching him Kitsune-style kenjutsu, which focused on performing quick attacks and taking advantages of openings. Naruto was also learning Fuinjutsu from Kurama. Although he didn't know advanced Fuinjutsu, he did know enough from his time spent as a prisoner in 2 very powerful seal masters. Naruto was currently getting dressed in his black ANBU pants, blue sandals, fingerless gloves, red t-shirt, with a black Jonin-style vest on top. Naruto then reached for his Rizabirito, Hellraiser blade, that Kurama had given him forged by the foxes. He placed the katana inside a seal painted on his arm. He couldn't put it on his back because he didn't want people to ask questions. He also checked his other 2 seals on his left and right wrist that held shuriken and kunai respectively. If there was one thing he hated about his new change, it was that he didn't eat as much ramen as before. Kurama had told him that ramen was unhealthy and the number one reason he was so short, so he was forced to give up ramen and only allowed to eat it once a week, but that didn't mean he could eat 40 bowls once a week. Naruto finished preparing and started making his way down the street toward the academy. He ignored the glares and mutterings of the villagers. Keep talking, you ignorant bastards. One day I'll show you and the rest of this damn village a real demon, thought Naruto with an evil smirk. Don't worry, kid, they won't know what hit them when you're done with them, said Kurama. Academy classroom. As Naruto entered the class, he could see that they all stood silent when he entered the room. He just ignored them and made his way to an empty row to take a seat. After 5 minutes, a boy with a puppy on his head walked toward Naruto. He had messy brown hair, sharp black eyes with vertical slit-like pupils, pronounced canine teeth, and red fang marking on his cheeks. Everyone stopped to look at the two. Kiba had thought that if he picked on Naruto he would instantly be popular and make more friends. How wrong he was. Hey, what do you think you're doing here? That's my chair, said Kiba. Naruto responded emotionlessly, get lost, mud, I don't want to have to deal with you. Kiba was pissed at how the class loser dismissed him. Who do you think you are? You're just some no-name loser with no parents, so why don't you go back to the orphanage? Naruto was usually very calm and insults wouldn't faze him, but he knew if he didn't take care of this idiot now, he would probably get picked on for the next 6 years. As Kiba continued taunting and insulting him, Naruto slowly got up from his chair. What's wrong, you gonna see? Kiba never finished his sentence, as Naruto grabbed him by the throat and lifted him into the air. Kiba started struggling to breath and clawed at Naruto's hand. Listen to me, mutt, I'm not going to take your or anyone else's shit, so I got one thing to tell you and everyone else who thinks it's smart to mess with me. Leave me alone and I'll leave you alone. If you don't, then your parents are going to find themselves attending your funeral. You got that? Said Naruto with a large amount of Kurama's ki flooding the room. Kiba only nodded dumbly before he was released and dropped on the ground as he took deep breaths. Everyone was just silent, shaking in fear at what had happened. Everyone now knew not to mess with the blonde. Just then 2 Chunin entered the strangely quiet room, wondering what had happened that everyone was so quiet. They soon started the roll call and stopped at Naruto's name and looked at him. He knew they were probably haters and knew this would be a bad year. Just then one of the teachers started talking. Good morning, students. My name is Iruka and this is Mizuki. We will be you academy teachers and use the next 6 years training you in the basics of being a ninja. Now let's start by going over what chakra is, lectured Iruka. Iruka then started lecturing, but Naruto had already nodded off and ignored them, knowing it was nothing important. At the end of the day he left the academy and headed home to make dinner. He knew it would be a long 6 years. 2 years later. Over the last 2 years, Naruto had gone through rigorous training mastering Kurama's Kitsune Taijutsu and Kenjutsu styles. He had also broken into the Senju clan compound and made copies of Senju Hashirama's Mokuton scrolls to learn from. He knew he couldn't steal them because they might blame him if only from their blind hatred. He was able to infiltrate the compound only because the clan was all but extinct and had a few patrols. The Uchiha clan was another story. Naruto hadn't been able to infiltrate their compound because they had a lot of alert members patrolling from the inside. He decided he would have to wait for a while before he could infiltrate and learn more about his Sharingan. Naruto was currently in his apartment returning from training in his Mokuton bloodline. He was about to go to sleep before Kurama started talking. "Kid, do you sense that?" Naruto stopped for a minute and started using his sensory skill he gained from Kurama. "Yeah, I sense a large amount of death and the scent of blood," Naruto thought with a bloodthirsty grin. Aside from increased sensory abilities, Naruto also gained a large bloodlust from Kurama's increased chakra output. Without missing a beat, Naruto made his way toward the location that had a strong scent of blood. Uchiha clan compound. Naruto arrived at the Uchiha clan compound. He made his way inside and was shocked to see that there were dead bodies littering the streets. "It looks like a massacre. I wonder who killed them," thought Naruto. "Whoever it is, I want to meet them and shake their hand," said Kurama, happy that someone finally decided to destroy the cursed clan. Just then Naruto sensed that someone was nearing him, and he quickly hid behind some nearby trash cans. He then saw the person was no other than Sasuke, who was looking at the dead bodies that filled the streets. Sasuke started running down the street to what looked like the clan head estate. Naruto decided to follow him. When Sasuke went inside, he could hear some voices, then a scream of pain. After 5 minutes, he saw a tall figure wearing an Anbu outfit leaving the house and Sasuke following after him. They started talking, but Naruto could care less as he made his way toward the Uchiha clan archives and went inside. There he saw shelves of scrolls. He knew this archive held every jutsu ever copied by an Uchiha and a lot more. He made 20 clones, and they started making copies of the scrolls. After he was done, he could sense that large groups of ANBU were approaching, and he wanted to be as far away from here as possible. He dispelled the clones, taking a minute to adjust to the memory headache, and made his way out of the clan undetected. He left the compound with a huge smile and a large amount of memorized jutsu to master. Next day. When Naruto woke up the following morning, he did his normal routine of getting dressed and eating a healthy breakfast. When he reached the academy, he hid inside an alley and made a shadow clone, and it left to attend the academy. Naruto hated going to the academy because the academy instructors hated him. He was actually a brilliant student, but he suspected they sabotaged his grades, and it caused him to hold the dead last position for the last 2 years. Since they decided to do that, he decided to train instead, go to the academy. He started to make his way toward training ground 44, or the Forest of Death, where he usually trained. Once there, he opened the scrolls that contained the jutsus that he stole from the Uchiha clan the previous day. The first scroll had the kanji for earth, the second had the kanji for water, and the third had the kanji for wind, and the last had the kanji for fire. The reason he had 4 affinities is because of the genetic modification Kurama had given him. He had an affinity to water and earth because of his Mokuton bloodline. He also had a fire affinity because of his Sharingan bloodline, and his wind affinity came from his original affinity had Kurama not changed his DNA. He created 300 clones and had them split into groups of 50. The first 50 would strengthen their earth affinity by using a leaf and pouring it into a leaf until it crumbled into dirt. The second 50 would strengthen their water affinity by pouring water chakra into a leaf until it was completely soaked. The third group of 50 would strengthen their wind affinity by cutting a leaf in half using wind chakra. The fourth group would strengthen their fire affinity by burning a leaf using fire chakra. The last 100 would do the tree climbing exercise to improve his chakra control. As he left the clones to their training, he started doing his physical exercises and his kenjutsu and taijutsu katas. Halfway through the training, he sensed a chakra signature. He ignored it, thinking it was one of the forest's many inhabitants. He wished he didn't, because the next second he found himself wrapped up by snakes. He could easily escape, but he wanted to know who was stupid enough to attack him. "Relax, Kit. Whoever it is, I don't sense any malicious intent in them," assured Kurama. Naruto calmed down, but once again tensed up when he felt someone press themselves against his back and hold a kunai to his cheek. "Well, what do we have here? A little boy alone in this big bad forest. Tell me what brings you here, little boy," said a mysterious voice. Naruto looked back and saw light brown, pupilless eyes, and black hair which has a blue tint to it, which was styled in a short, spiky, fan ponytail. She was wearing a tan overcoat with a purple inseam, and complete with a fitted mesh bodysuit that stretches from her neck down to her thighs. She wears a dark orange miniskirt, as well as a forehead protector, a small pendant that looks like a snake fawn on a thick cord. I was training before you rudely interrupted me, Naruto responded emotionlessly. The woman only smirked. Well, aren't you the brave one? But a little boy like you shouldn't be training in this forest. Where I train is none of your concern. Now would you please get the hell off me before I get angry, responded Naruto, starting to get angry. Well, I'll tell you one thing, kid, you got balls? Besides, I'm the sexy and single Mitarashi Anko. What's your name, kid? Asked Anko as she retracted his snakes and got off Naruto. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to training, said Naruto as he left to find a new training spot. Unfortunately, Anko had other plans and started following him and watched him as he trained. After a while, Naruto was getting annoyed that he wasn't getting any privacy. He knew if he didn't lose her, he wouldn't be able to train seriously, but then he thought she might be good for something. Anko-san, would you like to have a spar? Asked Naruto. Anko looked at the kid. She really didn't know what he was thinking he could take her on, but then she accepted, thinking it would be over in 10 seconds. How wrong she was. Sure, Gaki, I'll spar with you. I'll make sure I don't hurt you too bad, Anko said with a smirk. Naruto got a tick mark on his head. He hated being called a brat and hated being underestimated. But he knew that if she underestimated him, he could beat her. Naruto got into his stance and Anko into hers. Naruto decided to start off by using his speed and send a roundhouse kick toward her head. Fast was all Anko thought as she ducked under the kick and sent an uppercut toward Naruto's head, which he dodged by leaning his head back. He then sent a flurry of punches which Anko had a hard time dodging because they were too fast. Anko jumped back to put some distance between them. Not bad, Gaki, but not enough to beat me, said Anko, but on the inside she was thinking how he was so fast. Naruto didn't say anything as he used his superior speed to once again get in front of her and punch her in the stomach. She dodged and fought back, but Naruto was able to easily dodge them using his speed. He then saw she had an opening and took advantage of it by hitting her with a chakra-infused punch and sending her flying toward the tree. Anko couldn't believe it. A little Gaki beat her. She thought how strong he was. He looked to only be 8 years old, and he beat her. As she looked up, she saw Naruto offering her a hand up. She took it even though the only thing hurt was her pride. That was a helpful spar, Anko-san. Thank you, Naruto said with a small smile. Anko just smirked. You got lucky, Gaki. That won't happen the next time we spar. I hope not, or else you wouldn't be a very good sparring partner, responded Naruto with his own smirk. As he helped Anko, he sensed that the clone from the academy had dispelled. It's been fun, Anko-san, but I have to get going. I'll see you tomorrow. Later, Gaki. See you tomorrow, said Anko with a smile. Once he got far away enough, he created a clone and dispelled it to relay orders to the others and told them to dispel 10 at each 5-minute interval. He left the forest with a small smile, thinking he had made a friend. He only hoped she didn't get in his way when he got his revenge on the village. 4 years later. Naruto sat on his bed as he crossed off the final jutsu he had mastered. Over the last 4 years he had mastered every jutsu he stole from the Uchiha clan archives the night of the massacre. He looked at the 6 scrolls on his bed with a feeling of accomplishment as he read each. The scrolls had the kanji wind, fire, earth, water, mokuton, and genjutsu. Naruto started thinking to what had happened the past 4 years. In the academy he was still the dead last, not for lack of trying, but because of the instructor's blind hatred. Tomorrow was the final exam. All he had to do was pass, and he would be a genin and not have to deal with them anymore. His thoughts then shifted to Anko. Over the last 4 years they had been using the Forest of Death as their training ground and sparring. They had both helped each other become stronger. He really thought of Anko as his best friend. Then there was the council. Over the past 4 years the council had begun to become suspicious of him because he stayed under the radar. Recently he had noticed it was more difficult to lose his ANBU overseers, and he had to be more careful where he picked for training. He was happy to say that he was at least low Jonin level currently, and high Jonin level when using Kurama's chakra. He was knocked out of his thoughts by Kurama. Kid, stop daydreaming, it's time for you to take that test, said Kurama. Naruto only nodded and put his hands in a ram seal and left in a swirl of leaves, Shunshin. He arrived in an alley near the academy and made his way inside. He entered the room and saw everyone was silent at his arrival. He had used the past 4 years to instill fear in all of them, and he was successful as no one messed with him. He looked down the row and saw Sasuke brooding and looking out the window. Ever since his clan was killed by who he later found out was Sasuke's older brother, Itachi, he has been silent and dark, which in turn made him gain more fangirls. Naruto shivered at the word fangirls. He absolutely hated them. They were a disgrace in the ninja world. He had to guess that Konoha had the biggest fangirl population. Speaking of fangirls, Naruto watched as Sasuke's two biggest entered the class, seemingly racing through the door. "Ha, take that, Ino pig, I win again," screeched the pink-haired fangirl named Sakura. "In your dreams, forehead, I had my foot in the door," a girl named Ino said back. Both kept arguing back and forth until they saw that their Sasuke-kun was sitting alone. They both raced to claim the chair on the right. Unfortunately or fortunately, Kiba sat down next to Sasuke before they could reach. "Kiba-baka, get out of that chair so I can sit next to Sasuke-kun," screeched Sakura for everyone to hear. Kiba didn't like that he was being ordered out of his chair by some fangirl. His canine-like brain told him that they should be demanding Sasuke leave his chair so both could sit on either side of him. He wanted to be the alpha dog in the class, but saw that Sasuke was the obstacle in front of him. What does Kiba do? Kiba jumped on the desk and glared at Sasuke. Both were locked in a staring contest until someone behind Kiba accidentally bumped him, and he fell forward. The class was in slow motion as Kiba's lips fell on Sasuke's. Both stayed in that position for 2 seconds before both jumped away and tried to get the taste of each other out of their mouth. As Kiba spit out the taste of Sasuke, Naruto felt the ki radiating off all the girls in class toward Kiba. Apparently they were not pleased that their Sasuke-kun's first kiss was stolen by Kiba. They all pounced on Kiba and beat the crap out of him, leaving him in a broken heap. Naruto's sweat dropped when he picked a scent of pheromones on Kiba. Apparently he was turned on when the girls all beat him. Sick fuck, how weirder can you get, thought Naruto. You'd be surprised, kid. I've seen it all with that, said Kurama. Started sending Naruto images of seriously messed up things he'd witnessed over the years. By the end, Naruto was questioning his sanity. Everything was quiet when Iruka entered the class along with Mizuki. Okay class, today is the day you will take your final exam. If you pass, you will be given your Hitite and be official genin of Konoha. The first part of the exam was a written test which Naruto easily passed. The second part was a throwing weapons test. Naruto made sure to not score too high and avoid suspicion. The final test was being able to perform the 3 basic academy jutsu, which Naruto aced to the dislike of Iruka and Mizuki. As he made his way out of the academy, his advanced hearing picked up what sounded like Mizuki. As he got closer, he used the chameleon jutsu to avoid detection. It looked like Mizuki was talking to a girl named Ami that failed the exam. You know, Ami, if you really want to pass, I can give you some extra credits, said Mizuki. Really, Mizuki-sensei? Ami said, barely able to contain her excitement. Sure, all you have to do is pass a test that focuses on your infiltration and information gathering skills. You will need to sneak into the Hokage Tower, then steal the scroll of sealing and bring it to me, and I will give you your Hitite, Mizuki said with an all too sweet smile. Alright, Mizuki-sensei, I won't let you down. Ami left to begin her task. Kurama decided to make his presence known. Kit, you know what this means, right? Yeah, if I can steal that scroll from Mizuki, I can have all those jutsu added to my arsenal. The question is, how do I do it? Asked Naruto to himself. You should tail Mizuki after he leaves with the scroll. Once he is far away enough from the village, you can kill him, memorize the scroll, and destroy the evidence, suggested Kurama. Naruto thought about the plan and decided it was the best course of action. He knew that Mizuki would probably not let Ami live once he got the scroll, but he didn't care what happened to anyone in this kami-forsaken village. Later that night. Currently Naruto was tailing Ami as she carried Konoha's forbidden scroll of sealing. Naruto had to make sure he stayed far away enough that he wasn't seen by the Hokage's crystal ball. Kit, there is someone following the girl, warned Kurama. Naruto nodded and made a seal-less clone to continue following Ami, and he stayed behind to delay whoever was following Ami. After a few minutes he saw, of all people, it was Iruka. He must be trying to catch Ami. Too bad I can't let that happen, said Naruto as he started a sequence of hand seals. Naruto activated his Sharingan as he finished the seals and said Mokutan, Mokushaku, wood style, wooden tentacles. Wooden tentacles wrapped around Iruka, holding him down. Before he could shout out for help, Naruto jumped down from the tree and looked him in the eyes, placing him in a genjutsu and falling asleep. Nice job, Kit, you should probably catch up to that girl. Naruto made his way toward where the clone was. He arrived just in time to see Mizuki throw a giant shuriken and kill Ami. Naruto didn't really care that she was dead, all he cared about was getting that scroll. Mizuki jumped down from the tree and took the scroll, making his way north of Konoha with Naruto silently following. 3 hours later. Mizuki and the tailing Naruto were currently crossing the border of Fire Country and Rice Country. As soon as Mizuki crossed the border, Naruto jumped in front of him. Well, what do we have here? A traitor Chunin, and you have Konoha's forbidden scroll of sealing. What joy! Said Naruto with a bloodthirsty smile. Mizuki was shocked that Naruto was here. He had expected Anbu, but not Naruto. After his shock, he addressed Naruto. "What are you doing here, demon?" yelled Mizuki angrily. "What am I doing here? Why, I'm here to take that scroll from you, of course," answered Naruto. Mizuki laughed. "You think you can defeat me, you just a little genin." Naruto gave him another bloodthirsty smile. "Oh really, I think you're wrong. Now hand over the scroll and I might give you a painless death." "Don't think you're better than me, demon. When I give this scroll to Orochimaru-sama, he will reward me with power and money. Do you want to know why the village hates you?" Mizuki said with an evil grin. Naruto looked uninterested. "No, but I'm sure you're going to tell me." Not put off by his non-interest. "It's because 12 years ago, when the nine-tailed fox was defeated, the Yondaime didn't kill it, he sealed it inside you. You're the nine-tailed fox." Naruto just grinned. "I know, and it's only fitting you die while I use his power." Mizuki was shocked by Naruto's response. What shocked him more was the intense evil he felt as Naruto drew on Kurama's chakra and saw how his whisker marks darkened, his hands turned into claws, his eyes became slits, his fangs lengthened, and a red chakra cloak in the shape of a fox with one tail swishing behind it developed. Mizuki was beyond scared. He was cowering in fear as he witnessed Naruto's transformation. "Are you scared, Mizuki team? I want this to be the last thing you see before I send you to hell. Now die!" screamed demonic Naruto. Naruto lunged at Mizuki, who was knocked out of his fear paralysis, and managed to dodge. Mizuki started running deeper into Rice Country, but didn't get far as he was grabbed by a red chakra hand that burst from the ground. He felt unimaginable pain as the chakra burned off his skin and threw him into a tree. He looked up from the tree and saw Naruto still in his demon cloak with a bloodthirsty smile on his face. "Get away from me, demon!" yelled Mizuki in fear. "Do you really think I'm going to do that, Mizuki team?" chuckled Naruto darkly. Before Mizuki could respond, Naruto once again sent a Churka hand to grab him and rip the scroll from his back. Once he had the scroll, he threw Mizuki into the sky and did a couple of quick hand signs. "Katon, Gokaki no Jutsu, Fire Style, Fireball Jutsu," thought Naruto as he sent a large fireball at Mizuki that burned him to a crisp because he couldn't dodge. He opened the scroll and activated his Sharingan to memorize all the information. He was disappointed to see that most of the jutsu in the scroll he already knew from the Uchiha clan archives. Then 4 particular jutsus caught his attention. Rasengan, A-rank jutsu, personally created by the Yondaime Hokage. Hiraishin no Jutsu, S-rank, created by Yondaime. Clone Great Explosion, A-rank, created by Uchiha Itachi. Kuchios, Edo Tensei, S-rank Kinjutsu, and created by the Nidaime Hokage. These jutsu are all A and S-rank. Although the Edo Tensei and the Hiraishin will be difficult to master without extensive Fuinjutsu knowledge, I can start learning the other when I get back to Konoha. After using a quick fire jutsu to destroy the scroll, he made his way back to Konoha to receive his team assignment. As he made his way back to Konoha, he couldn't help but think how he would one day get his revenge and destroy Konoha. Hokage's office. Sarutobi Hiruzen was having a bad day, having to deal with paperwork and a paranoid council who were suspicious of Naruto because he hadn't been causing problems. Naruto was something else that Sarutobi was worried about. Ever since Naruto was attacked and went missing for 3 days, he had turned quiet and uncaring. Sarutobi also noticed that he no longer visited him or talked about being Hokage. The Sandaime wondered if Naruto hated the village. He crushed that thought. Naruto would always love the village. That's what he kept telling himself, despite the truth being far from his hope. Another thing that bothered him was that Mizuki had stolen the forbidden scroll of sealing and had escaped the land of fire. He only hoped that the scroll didn't fall into the wrong hands. How wrong he was. Academy. Naruto reached the academy just in time. He was beyond tired. He had spent the entire night traveling back to the village in order to be here for team assignments. As Iruka entered the class, he could see that he was none the wiser. He made sure that when he placed Iruka under the genjutsu that he forgot everything that had happened. The only way he would be able to remember would be to have a Yamanaka unlock the memory, but he doubted Iruka would let that happen. "Alright class, I am happy to say that everyone here passed and am proud to say that we are no longer teacher and student but comrades in arms." Iruka smiled but frowned when he saw Naruto. "Comrade in arms, yeah right," Naruto scoffed. "Alright, I will now start announcing teams," announced Iruka. Team 1 will be made up of Naruto started ignoring Iruka since he didn't care. He looked around the room to see who had graduated. Nara Shikamaru, heir to the Nara clan and major slacker. Akimichi Choji, heir to the Akimichi clan and Shikamaru's best friend. Inuzuka Kiba, heir to the Inuzuka and a loud mouth. Hyuga Hinata, heiress to the Hyuga clan and a total coward. How she will be a clan head is beyond me, thought Naruto as he continued surveying the class. Yamanaka Ino, heiress to the Yamanaka clan, Sasuke's self-proclaimed love, and second in command of the Sasuke fan club. Aburame Shino, heir to the Aburame clan and a very isolated person much like himself. Haruno Sakura, a nameless civilian playing ninja, one of the most annoying person in class next to Kiba, and whose mother has a position on the council. Speaking of Sakura's mother, I have to make sure I have my revenge on her before I leave this kami-forsaken village once and for all. Last but no least, the class emo and possible homosexual, Uchiha Sasuke. As much as he and Kurama hated the Uchiha, Naruto could make use of him if he could find something to use against him. He would have to sneak into the Hokage Tower and look for information. There were other students, but most were no-name orphans with any clan or power. Team 7 will be made up of Haruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke. Sakura jumped from her chair cheering, and Uzumaki Naruto. Your Jonin-sensei will be Hatake Kakashi. Sakura sat down in disappointment. Naruto was slightly smiling. With the Uchiha on his team, he would be able to find ways to manipulate him. Team 8 will be made up of Inuzuka Kiba, Hyuga Hinata, and Aburame Shino. Your Jonin-sensei will be Yuhi Kurenai. Team 9 is still in circulation, so Team 10 will be made up of Naro Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino, and Akimichi Choji. Your Jonin-sensei will be Saratobi Asuma. Once Iruka finished, he told them they could leave for lunch. Naruto decided to go to the Hokage Tower and look up that information since he knew security would be light due to the all-day monthly meeting. Hokage Tower. Naruto entered the archive room and created shadow clones to start searching through the filing cabinets. After a half hour of searching, he decided to search in the Hokage's office instead. He entered and started the something. After 5 minutes of searching, he found a cabinet, but it was locked with a seal on it. He channeled enough of Kurama's chakra to break the seal, but not enough to be detected by the ANBU guards. Inside, he found 2 files that made his eyes widen to the size of dinner plates. The first was in secret ANBU mission file. Inside was a mission accepted by Uchiha Itachi. The objective: exterminate the Uchiha clan for planning a coup against the Hokage. At the bottom of the page was the signature of the Sandaime Hokage and his 3 advisors, Mitokado Hamura, Udatane Koharu, and Shimura Danzo. He knew with this he could easily manipulate Sasuke to destroy Konoha. In Amigekure, Hidden Rain, a masked stranger sneezed as he thought of ways to manipulate Uchiha Sasuke to do his bidding. The second file Naruto read was the most surprising. It was a top-secret file on his heritage. Inside the file it named his mother and father. His mother was Uzumaki Kushina, heiress of the Uzumaki clan and last known Uzumaki. His father was Namikaze Minato, Yondaime Hokage and clan head of Konoha's richest clan. What shocked him more was his inheritance. The money from the Namikaze clan holdings and businesses combined with the Uzumaki clan holdings. He was funding over 50% of Konoha. Naruto was furious. No, he was beyond furious, he was livid. How dare they keep his inheritance from him and have him living in a shithole of an apartment? He then realized something. If he took his money from Konoha's banks, he would send Konoha into an economic depression. He smirked as he now had leverage to hold against the council and Konoha as a whole. He then turned to Kurama, who was quiet the entire time. Did you know about my heritage? Asked Naruto. No, I had no idea. Kurama lied through his teeth. He knew if he said yes, Naruto would turn his fury on him. You should start making your way back to the academy. It's almost been an hour, suggested Kurama. Naruto nodded and made his way out of the tower undetected and headed toward the academy. A range of emotions were going through Naruto's mind: anger, betrayal, relief, and satisfaction. Academy. As Naruto waited for his Jonin-sensei with the other students, he couldn't help but think what the next step would be. Just then Kurama made a suggestion. I have an idea, Kit. Since sooner or later you're going to leave this village and all that money could come in handy. I suggest you confront the old monkey and tell his you know about you parents and inheritance. You should demand your inheritance. He will probably call a council meeting, and when they refuse you can threaten them with going to the fire daimyo, who will probably be in your favor. Either way, you get your money and Konoha gets screwed. You know, Kurama, that's a genius plan. I could kiss you, thought Naruto excitingly. Kurama's sweat dropped. I think I'll pass. As Naruto came out of his thoughts, he saw that the only ones still in the class were him and his team. He was wondering where his Jonin-sensei could be. With Kakashi. As Kakashi looked at the memorial stone, he couldn't help but feel annoyed and happy at the same time. He was happy because he would have his sensei's legacy, Naruto, on his team. He was annoyed because yesterday the council had demanded he teach the last Uchiha, their logic being he would be able to apprentice Sasuke and teach him all his techniques. Another reason he was annoyed is that the pink-haired council member Hirunosuke had additionally demanded he make sure Sakura wasn't pushed too hard. It seemed the only good thing he got out of this team was the chance to train Naruto. He looked at his watch and decided now was a good time to meet his team. He disappeared in a swirl of leaves to the academy. Academy? The classroom door opened to show a man who had silver spiky hair and had a mask covering his face. He only stuck his head in the door before telling them to meet him on the roof and disappeared in a puff of smoke. Naruto didn't bother standing as he disappeared in a swirl of leaves, stunning Sakura and Sasuke. Roof. Kakashi was leaning against the railing of the roof when Naruto appeared in a swirl of leaves and sat on the stairs. He knows the Shunshin. I wondered where he learned it. The academy profile said he was the dead last who barely passes the final exam, thought Kakashi, impressed with Naruto's ability. A few minutes later they were joined by Sakura and Sasuke, who sat on the stairs as well. Kakashi was the first to speak. Well, my first impression of you guys is I hate you, said Kakashi. Sakura and Sasuke frowned. Naruto remained emotionless. Why don't we start by saying our names, likes, dislikes, hobbies, and dreams? Why don't you start, sensei? Said Sakura. Alright, my name is Hitaki Kakashi. My like, you don't need to know that. My dislikes, that either. My hobbies, you're too young to know about it. And my dream, I don't have one. Okay, you Pinky, you're next, said Kakashi. Sakura was annoyed at her nickname but obeyed. My name is Harino Sakura. My like are, she looked at Sasuke and blushed. My dislikes are Ino Pig, and she looked at Naruto and gulped in fear. My hobbies are, she looked at Sasuke and giggled, and my dream is, she once again looked at Sasuke and blushed red and giggled. Great, a fangirl, thought Kakashi with a mental sigh. Okay, Broody, you're next. Sasuke scowled at Kakashi but nevertheless complied. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I don't have a lot of likes, and I have a lot of dislikes. I don't have any hobbies, and I don't have a dream, more of an ambition to kill a certain man and revive my clan. Great, a broody avenger, thought Kakashi as he turned to Naruto. Your turn, Blondie. Naruto kept his emotionless mask and responded, my name is Uzumaki Naruto, and that's all you need to know. Everyone, especially Kakashi, frowned. Since when did he become so cold and distant? Okay, then know that we know absolutely nothing about one another. I should tell you to meet me at Training Ground 7 for the Genin exam, and a word of advice, don't eat breakfast, you'll just throw it up. With that said, Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke before they could ask any questions. They all went their separate ways. Sasuke went to go train as Sakura hounded him for a date, and Naruto left to go confront the Hokage. Hokage Tower. Sarutobi was having a good day. He was sitting back and enjoying his little red book because he had finished his paperwork. He didn't know that what was approaching his office would give him a lot more paperwork. Naruto approached the Hokage's tower and entered, completely ignoring the secretary screaming for him to come back, and reached the office before the ANBU could stop him. He kicked open the door and entered the room. Sarutobi was shocked, and he quickly put the book away before anyone could see. Sarutobi also noticed the scowl on Naruto's face instead of the usual smile he used to have. Hokage-sama, I have something very important to talk to you about, said Naruto, barely hiding his anger. Just then the ANBU entered the room but were stopped by the Sandaime, who told them to leave them. The ANBU exited the room and closed the door behind them. He then turned to Naruto with a serious face. What is it you want to talk about, Naruto? Said the Sandaime without his usual grandfatherly tone. I would like to discuss the reason you thought that hiding my heritage from me. Finally losing his cool and giving in to his anger. Sarutobi was shocked to say the least. He immediately turned on some privacy seals and turned to Naruto with some shame in his eyes. Do you know who your parents are, Naruto? Asked the aging leader. Yes, I do. My mother was a kunoichi named Uzumaki Kushina and was also the last of the known Uzumaki clan. Naruto walked to the window and looked at the Hokage monument, and my father was none other than Minato Namikaze, Yondaime Hokage of Konoha. Now Sarutobi was shocked and was trying to think how it was that Naruto found out. The only ones that knew his heritage were Kakashi and Jiraiya. He wanted to be sure which one it was, before he took any further action. Tell me, who told you this, Naruto? The only person who seemed to care about me. Sarutobi thought he was talking about Kakashi before Naruto continued. He has been with me my entire life and has been the only one there for me when I was alone. Sarutobi was confused as to who Naruto was talking about. Naruto saw his confusion and decided to explain further. His name is Kurama, or as you would better know him, Kyuubi, Naruto said calmly with no emotion. Sarutobi dropped his pipe when he mentioned Kyuubi, thinking that the fox was influencing Naruto. Naruto, you cannot trust the fox. He will only use you and discard of you when you are of no use to him, Sarutobi said with a sort of pleading to get his point across. The fox is evil, and you must never trust it. Naruto got angry. Kurama has been there for me more times than I can count. He was there for me when the villagers attacked me. He was there for me when I was lonely. And he was there for me more times than you were, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi had the decency to look ashamed before he looked up and addressed Naruto. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you, Naruto. I have made a lot of mistakes in my life and I have regretted a lot of them, Sarutobi said in an apologizing manner. Well, now you can at least fix one of them by giving me what is rightfully mine. I want my inheritance and my family's estate. Naruto, I can give you the estate, but the inheritance is something I cannot give you. I'm sorry. Naruto lost his patience. I don't care. I want what is mine and I will get it, Sarutobi. Call a council meeting because we had a chance to be civil and now you have forced my hand. Sarutobi looked at Naruto's cold, emotionless blue eyes to see how serious he was. He sighed. The council will be in an uproar when they heard about this. Very well, Naruto, follow me. Sarutobi lead Naruto out of the office and into a large chamber where he informed an ANBU to summon the council. Konoha Council Room, 1 hour later. As the council gathered inside the room, many wondered why they were called and the civilian side wondered why the demon was inside the room as well. Finally, one of the elders, Yutane Koharu, decided to end the silence. Hokage-sama, why have we been called here? Sarutobi took a drag of his pipe and spoke. I'm afraid I did not call this meeting, Koharu, but young Naruto did, pointing at Naruto next to him who stood looking at the council with cold, blue eyes. One of the civilian council members decided to speak next. What could the damn boy want that it would require a council meeting? Naruto was the next to speak up. I called this meeting because I want what is mine. Unfortunately, Hokage-sama has refused to give it to me. Danzo was the next to speak up. What is it that you have requested, boy? Naruto turned his eyes on Danzo and spoke. I want my inheritance, my birthright, the money in the Namikaze and Uzumaki clan holdings. The civilian side broke into loud protest, denying that Naruto was the heir to the Namikaze clan and refusing to give him what was his. Naruto Shikaku spoke next. Hokage-sama, is it true that Naruto is the heir to both clans' holdings? Sarutobi took a long drag from his pipe before speaking. Yes, it is true. Naruto is the son of Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato. I can give you my word that it is true, as I was the one of 3 that knew Naruto's true heritage. The entire room was shocked, the civilian side more than the shinobi side. Finally, a pink-haired council member decided to make herself known. That's impossible. Yondaime-sama never had any children, and this boy is certainly not his son. Sarutobi looked at the woman with narrowed eyes. Are you saying my word is not good enough, civilian? Sarutobi said with emphasis on civilian. The woman gulped and decided to sit down. Shikaku decided to speak again. Even if you are entitled to your inheritance, it makes up for 50% of Konoha's economy, and we would be sent into a depression if we just handed over that money to you. Naruto looked at Shikaku with narrowed eyes. So are you saying you won't be giving me what is rightfully mine? One of the civilians replied smugly. That's right. What are you going to do now? Naruto just gave a small chuckle that confused everyone. The chuckle then turned into fun-blown laughter. Ha ha ha, good, then that means I can do this, said Naruto with a sadistic grin. He started doing hand seals, which caused everyone to tense only to see his slam his hand on the ground and reveal a small fox. Hello Hideki, I assume you have the response from the fire daimyo? Asked Naruto. The fox named Hideki nodded. Of course, Naruto-sama. He had given me this for you to present to the council. The fox handed Naruto before saying farewell and dispelling. Everyone was shocked to say the least, the shinobi side because they had never seen a fox summons, and the civilian side because they heard that Naruto had received a letter from the fire daimyo. Naruto read the scroll before smiling and handing it to Sarutobi, who paled upon reading it. Finally, losing patience, a civilian merchant spoke up. What does it say, Hokage-sama? Sarutobi sighed. This document states that Uzumaki Naruto is to be given his full inheritance, and is to be paid restitutions for his past attacks. If these are not met, the daimyo will pull his funding from Konoha until they are. It even contains the official seal and signature of the fire daimyo. Everyone paled. Not only had Naruto managed to win his inheritance, he now had leverage over the village should they not pay in full. The civilian side erupted in protest, refusing to pay, while the shinobi side sighed in defeat as they couldn't deny an order from the daimyo. Sarutobi silenced the civilian side and turned to Naruto. Very well, Naruto, you win. Come to my office, and you can sign the paperwork. The civilians were about to argue, but some quick ki from Sarutobi shut them up. The Sandaime dismissed the council and led Naruto to his office. Once inside the office, Sarutobi walked up to the picture of the Yondaime and removed it, revealing a safe. Sarutobi opened it and took out 3 scrolls and a key. He handed them to Naruto before he sat down at his desk exhausted. Naruto looked at the scroll and the key, then heard Sarutobi speak. Those are the scrolls your father left you before he died. One is a letter from him, another is his 2 most famous jutsu, and the last is a sum of money. The key opens the Namake's estate. Sarutobi handed Naruto a map so he would know where it was. The amount of money that both the Uzumaki and Namake's clan has invested in Konoha banks amounts to 700 million ryo. Konoha can pay you 500 million, while the 200 million you will receive from percentages from completed missions. Naruto only nodded as he turned to leave but stopped when Sarutobi spoke up. What happened to you, Naruto? What happened to the boy that wanted to be Hokage and be acknowledged by the villagers? Naruto just looked at his with cold eyes and spoke that Naruto died when the villagers tried to kill him, and now they will pay for their crimes. Without another word, Naruto left in a swirl of leaves. Sarutobi looked at the picture of Minato. I'm sorry, Minato, I failed you. Sarutobi put his head down in shame before starting the paperwork. With Naruto. Naruto reappeared in his apartment and started packing what little belongings he had. After packing, he made his way to his new home. As he walked through the streets, he ignored the usual glares and whispers. Naruto only smirked at them as he walked into the upper districts of Konoha. He could sense that there were people following him, but he wanted them to see how he walked into their beloved Yandame's estate. He stood in front of the Namake's estate and noticed the blood seal on the gate. He cut his thumb and smeared blood on the seal. He waited a few seconds before the gate opened and he entered the compound. He looked at the house in admiration. It was a 2-story European-style house. It had a large front yard, and the backyard looked like a large training ground. He used the key Sarutobi had given him and opened the door. Inside the house, he couldn't help but be impressed at all the expensive appliances and furniture. He made his way to the second floor. He found 6 doors. 3 doors were master bedrooms, 2 doors was a very large bedroom, and the final room was a large library/study that contained very large amounts of scrolls and books. He took one of the books from a shelf and saw it was a book on advanced sealing techniques. With all these books, I can probably become a seal master before I leave Konoha. These books will also help me complete the Hiraishin no Jutsu and the Edo Tensei so I can use them with no problem, thought Naruto. Before leaving the study to look at the basement, he created 30 shadow clones. Okay, here's what I want you to do. 10 will study advanced Fuinjutsu, 10 will research to complete the Hiraishin, and 10 will research to complete the Edo Tensei. With his orders given, the clones left to do their work and Naruto continued to the basement. As he reached the basement, he saw that there was a heavy metal door with a blood seal. He spread blood on the seal and watched as the seal glowed and opened, revealing a large armory. He looked at the katanas and tantos hanging on the walls. He also saw crates on the other side of the room. Kunai, shuriken, explosive tags, containers of soldier pills and blood pills, flash and smoke bombs, and Hiraishin 3-pronged kunai. This room had enough weapons to supply a civil war, but Naruto didn't look a gift horse in the mouth since these supplies will be useful for the destruction of the leaf. Well, it's getting late, and I should probably get some sleep for tomorrow's test. Naruto went upstairs and randomly chose one of the bedrooms to sleep in, at least while he was still in the village. Next day, Training Ground 7. Sakura and Sasuke waited at Training Ground 7 for their sensei and blonde teammate. Naruto showed up wearing his black ANBU pants, red t-shirt, fingerless gloves with metal plates, dark blue sandals, and his black and red camouflaged vest. He walked toward them, eating an apple, looking at them with an emotionless face. "You're late," screeched Sakura. Naruto ignored her as he sat down and took out a book on advanced sealing. Sakura saw that he was ignoring her. Her violent temper got the better of her rational fear, and she lunged at Naruto, ready to punch him. Naruto saw this and dodged the punch, unsealed his sword, and put the sword at Sakura's throat. Naruto looked at Sakura with cold eyes, ready to kill. "What do you think you were trying to do, Haruno?" Sakura only gulped in fear as the realization of what she did set in. "I'm sorry, I won't do it again," she said in fear of losing her life. Naruto didn't bother to acknowledge her apology. He resealed his sword and returned to his book. Sasuke watched the situation with interest. How could the dead last be so skilled? Sasuke had to admit that Sakura was weak, but Naruto showed skill that wouldn't belong to the dead last. 2 hours passed and there was a large puff of smoke, which revealed Kakashi holding a clock and 2 bentos. For those that don't know what a bento is, it's basically a lunchbox. "Yo!" greeted Kakashi with a nice smile. Sakura only screeched, "You're late," while Sasuke looked at him annoyed and Naruto kept reading his book. "Sorry, I got lost on the road to life," he lied. Everyone, even Naruto's sweat dropped at his horrible excuse. He went over to the 3 wooden posts and placed the bentos and a clock on them. He then turned to address the genin and took out 2 bells. "Okay, children, your objective to pass the test will be to take these bells from me," said Kakashi, holding up 2 bells. "But sensei, there are only 2 bells and there are 3 of us," asked Sakura. "Very good, Sakura. The reason for that is that whoever doesn't have a bell will be sent back to the academy. Also, if you can't get them before the timer runs out, you will be tied to a post while I eat lunch. At the mention of lunch, 2 stomachs growled. Make sure you come after me with intent to kill, or you won't get the bells. Kakashi readied the timer before yelling go. Everyone hid and began planning their next move. It doesn't make sense, he said, only 2 of us will pass, but I have never heard of a 3-man squad. Wait a minute, of course I see the game you're playing, Kakashi thought Naruto with a grin as he figured out the true meaning of the test. Naruto began preparing accordingly, and made some seal-less shadow clones to begin setting the trap. He grinned as he remembered that Kakashi said to come with the intent to kill. He would make him regret that. Training Ground 7. Naruto is up in a tree while he observed Kakashi reading an orange book. He used his senses to locate Sasuke and Sakura. He sensed that Sasuke was up a tree and Sakura was hiding in the bushes. After a clone came to him and told him the trap was ready, he continued watching Kakashi and saw that Sasuke had made his move. Sasuke ran toward Kakashi and started using taijutsu. Kakashi was impressed with his taijutsu, and even put his book away to be able to deflect his punches and kicks. Sasuke sent a roundhouse kick at Kakashi's head, which he grabbed. Sasuke then twisted his body to punch Kakashi, but failed when Kakashi caught his fist. Sasuke used this chance to grab the bells since Kakashi had his hands full. The Jonin felt Sasuke touch the bells and immediately pushed him away. Sasuke landed on his feet and started a series of hand signs. Fire style, fireball jutsu, Sasuke mentally yelled. What a genin doesn't have enough chakra to do that jutsu, thought Kakashi. When the fireball dispersed, there was only a singed crater and no Kakashi. Before Sasuke could search for Kakashi, he heard something under his feet. Earth style, double suicide decapitation technique. A hand shot from the ground and grabbed Sasuke's foot. It dragged him down into the earth until nothing was left but a head. Kakashi appeared in front of Sasuke with an eye smile. Not bad for a genin. Your taijutsu could use a little work. Get me out of here! Yelled Sasuke in anger. No, I don't think so, Kakashi said with an eye smile and walked away. Kakashi hid in the trees as he looked down on Sakura, not sensing someone was watching him. She seemed to be frantically looking for Sasuke. Kakashi decided to cast a genjutsu on Sakura to see how she would react. The result was pathetic. Sakura was walking through the wood as she heard a rustle in the bushes and took out a kunai. W's tea there? Sakura said in fear. Sasuke stumbled through the bushes. Sakura gave a sigh of relief until he saw the state he was in. Sasuke was covered on cuts and was bleeding profusely. Sakura, help me, Sasuke pleaded weakly. Sakura could only let out a scream before she fainted. Kakashi looked at her unconscious body with a sweat drop. This is the kunoichi of the year? The academy standards have really gone down, whispered Kakashi. Kakashi was about to move on to Naruto until he heard a voice, wind style, drilling air bullet. A bullet of air caught him off guard and pushed him into the clearing. He recovered and 10 Naruto clones surrounded him. 6 clones engaged him in taijutsu. He had a difficult time dealing with Naruto's unknown type of taijutsu, but his years of experience allowed him to stay one step ahead. After dispelling all the clones, he noticed the 4 clones were finishing up hand signs. Fire style, fire dragon jutsu, yelled all the clones simultaneously. Kakashi's eye widened when he saw 4 fire dragons coming from all sides. He quickly used the kawarimi, substitution, to replace himself with a log. Kakashi was immediately on guard, hiding in the trees. On the other side of the clearing stood a wide-eyed Sakura and a jealous Sasuke. Amazing, he used so many powerful jutsu, thought Sakura. How is the dobe so strong? I should be the one with that power. I needed to kill him, thought Sasuke angrily. I never knew Naruto was so strong. He nothing like the academy reports say, said Kakashi out loud. Thank you, sensei. Kakashi heard a voice behind him. He quickly jumped away as a katana sliced through the branch he was standing on. Kakashi saw Naruto's emotionless face as they both landed in the clearing. Kakashi took out a kunai and stood in a defensive stance, while Naruto stood in an offensive stance with his katana. Both stood in the clearing. Naruto took the first move and swung his sword at Kakashi, who dodged. Naruto twisted his body to try and behead Kakashi, who used the kunai to block. Both stood trying to overpower the other with their respective weapon. Not bad, Naruto, you're very skilled, praised Kakashi. Naruto didn't give any emotion as he responded, thank you, sensei, but I am still holding back. Naruto started channeling wind chakra through his katana to sharpen the blade. He sliced through Kakashi's kunai like a hot knife through butter. Kakashi jumped away but had gotten a shallow slice through his vest. Kakashi was impressed that Naruto put him on the defensive like this. Although he couldn't go on the offensive, Naruto was at least high Chunin level. Before Naruto could continue the Kenjutsu fight, the clock sounded indicating time was up. Alright, time's up, and you didn't get the bells, Kakashi said with an eye smile. Sasuke and Sakura came out from the bushes, both with different reactions to what they had witnessed. Sakura had a look of awe and fear, while Sasuke had a scowl on his face. Naruto kept his emotionless mask and didn't pay any attention to his teammates. Sasuke walked up to Naruto. Where did you learn that jutsu? Teach me. Naruto ignored Sasuke and decided to speak up. Actually, sensei, I think you should double-check your bells. Don't ignore me, dope! Yelled Sasuke, but noticed he was still being ignored. Sasuke, be quiet, it's Naruto's jutsu. If he doesn't want to give it to you, he doesn't have to, snapped Kakashi. Kakashi then followed Naruto's advice. He noticed that the bells were gone. He was shocked to say the least. When did he get the bells? Thought Kakashi. Naruto then held up the bells he had taken from Kakashi. Good job, Naruto, you have an extra bell. Who are you going to give it to? Naruto turned around to look at Sasuke and Sakura and remembered something Kurama had taught him. Look underneath the underneath. He threw them both bells before speaking. They can have both of them because they are my comrades, and it wouldn't be a full team without them, would it? Kakashi-sensei. Naruto lied because he had figured out the real purpose of the test, but hated the idea of working with them. You all pass, proclaimed Kakashi with an eye smile. Looks like he figured out the true meaning of the test, thought Kakashi. That's right, Naruto, the true meaning of the test was for you guys to use teamwork to get the bells from me, but because Naruto gave them to you, he showed that he was a team player. Remember, those who disobey orders are trash, but those who abandon their friends are worse than trash. Sakura only sighed in relief that she would get to stay in her Sasuke-kun's team. Sasuke was angry because he had to accept pity from the dobe. Another part of him was relieved that he was finally a genin and was one step closer to his goal. Kakashi dismissed his genin with orders to report here for their first mission, then left in a poof of smoke. Sasuke left with the intention of training, while Sakura followed him like a lost puppy asking for a date. Naruto went back to his estate in a swirl of wind. With Naruto was in his personal training ground working on completing his training and mastering the Rasengan. Normally mastering the Rasengan would take months to master, but he also had the aid of 200 shadow clones doing the same training. He estimated that he would master it by later tonight. When Naruto had gotten home, he had been given a report on the status of completing the research for the Hiraishin and the Edo Tensei. His clones estimated that the work would be finished in 5 months. So far, his clones had discovered that both jutsus were a type of summoning. The Hiraishin used the seal formula on the Hiraishin kunai as a summoning point where the user only needs to use a small amount of chakra to reverse summon themselves to the kunai. The Edo Tensei was a more complex jutsu. It summoned souls from the afterlife and placed them in a new body. The user would have to make a sacrifice, a live person, for the body to be used, a vessel for the soul. These bodies would be indestructible and regenerate themselves. The only way to stop the bodies would be by sealing them. A problem with the jutsu was the control over the soul the user would have. In order to control the soul, the user would have to be stronger than the summoned, or the soul could turn against the summoner. He didn't have to worry though. Using his DNA that contained both the Sharingan and Mokuton genes, he could easily control and summon souls. All Naruto needed now was to start grave robbing. He would have to be careful though. Either way, both jutsu once complete would be a very powerful addition to his arsenal. He left the compound to get dinner and left his clones to their assignments. He walked toward Ichiraku Ramen, ignoring the usual glares. He stepped inside the stand and couldn't help but smile. He loved coming to the small ramen stand because it was the only place he could go as a kid and not get kicked out. He hoped when he destroyed Konoha they didn't die with the rest of the damn village. Welcome to Ichiraku Ramen, can I take your order? Asked a young teen waitress named Ayam. I'll have the usual Ayam Nichin, Naruto said with a smile. Ayam realized who was over the counter when she turned around. Oh, Naruto-kun, it's good to see you. Where have you been? Naruto realized that it had been 8 months since he had been here, occupied with his training and planning his revenge. You know me, I am Nichin, training to get stronger, Naruto responded with a sincere smile. Ayam went in the back to make his ramen, and came back 5 minutes later. Naruto ate his ramen, enjoying the taste and remembering the old times he had in the little stand. After 20 bowls of ramen he paid and thanked Ayam for the dinner. When he got home he went to bed wondering what the next day would bring. 2 months later. If Naruto didn't hate Konoha before, he sure as hell hated it now. The past 2 months had been hell for Naruto and his squad. They would always do D-rank missions and Naruto hated doing the menial tasks to improve teamwork, as Kakashi would say, except he never helped do the mission, only giggling perversely at his book. Currently they had just returned from capturing the Fire Daimyo wife's cat Tora, and it had taken all of Naruto's willpower not to destroy the cat's mind with his Sharingan. Oh, my little Tora-chan, are you alright? Mommy missed you. The fire daimyo's wife was currently crushing the cat between her cleavage. It gave Naruto a sense of pleasure watching it suffer. The Sandaime Hokage was looking through D-rank missions. Since your squad finished another D-rank, now you have choice. You can walk some dogs, babysit, or… "And oh, Tora-chan, come back!" yelled the daimyo wife as Tora escaped again. "Or you can capture Tora again," finished Sarutobi. Naruto started letting out an unholy amount of killing intent and everyone in the room was sweating and looking nervous. "No, if I have to chase that damn cat one more time, I'm going to give it back in ashes," yelled Naruto in anger. Kakashi decided to play peacemaker. "Hokage-sama, I think Team 7 is ready for a C-rank mission." "Yes, I think that Team 7 is more than ready for a C-rank," agreed the Sandaime. "Tazuna-san, please enter," said the Sandaime. Team 7 turned to see a man who looked to be in his 50s holding a sake bottle and drunk. "This is what I get for my money, a couple of brats and their sensei. You promised me Ninja Hokage-sama," slurred Tazuna. "I can assure you, Tazuna-san, these genin are more than capable of protecting you." Sarutobi turned to address Team 7. "Team 7, your mission is to escort Tazuna-san to his home in Nami no Kuni, Land of Waves, and protect him until he completes his bridge." Team 7 nodded in agreement, and Kakashi told them to meet at the gate in 2 hours. 2 hours later. Naruto hid in the shadows watching the gate, and waiting for his team and Kakashi. He watched as Tazuna fidgeted nervously. He checked his equipment one more time. He checked his 4 separate sealing tattoos. The storage seals held his Riza Burrito, Hellraiser Blade, Kunai, Shuriken, and the final seal was a summoning tattoo for the foxes. He checked his vest pockets that held his storage scrolls filled with cloths, money, and medical supplies. He looked down the street and saw Sasuke was approaching the gate with Sakura in tow. Kakashi showed up 5 minutes later. "Okay, is everyone packed and ready to go?" asked Kakashi with a nice smile. He saw that Sakura and Sasuke had backpacks while Naruto wasn't wearing anything but his regular cloths. "Naruto, where are your things?" asked Kakashi. Naruto looked at Kakashi with an emotionless face and pulled out 2 scrolls from his pocket and here Sensei pointing at the 2 scrolls. Kakashi only nodded his head, but Sasuke and Sakura had on faces of confusion. Naruto sighed as he saw their faces. "You know people call you the best of the academy, but you're a bunch of idiots. These are storage scrolls, they are a work of Fuinjutsu that allow me to store things inside seals," explained Naruto. Sasuke and Sakura glared at Naruto for calling them idiots, although Kakashi seemed to agree with him, knowing that the top of the academy should at least know what storage scrolls were. After the tension dropped, Kakashi led everyone through the gate, and they made their way toward Nami no Kuni. Halfway to Nami no Kuni. As Team 7 walked through the forest to Nami no Kuni, they passed a single puddle in the middle of the road. Naruto and Kakashi noticed that wasn't a normal puddle, while everyone else was oblivious to it. As they walked past, Kakashi slowed down to the back of the group. Suddenly, 2 shinobi with water-breathing masks and a chained gauntlet emerged from the puddle and wrapped their chain around Kakashi, ripping him to pieces. "1 down," said the first shinobi. 3 to go, said the second. "Kakashi-sensei!" yelled Sakura in shock, while Sasuke and Naruto sprang into action and ran toward the mysterious ninja. Naruto summoned his katana and channeled wind chakra, making the blade sharper, and sliced at the attacker's head. Unfortunately, his opponent tried to block the attack with his gauntlet, and failed to notice the wind chakra covering the blade. The blade cut through the shinobi's gauntlet, severing his hand. He screamed in pain as his hand leaked blood. "Meizu!" yelled other shinobi. The shinobi now identified as Meizu continued to scream in pain before he was silenced when Naruto beheaded him with a look of glee on his face. The older brother named Goza looked in disbelief as his brother was killed in front of his eyes. He had forgotten all about Sasuke. In turn, Sasuke used his distraction and wrapped him in ninja wire to incapacitate him. Kakashi jumped down from the tree and saw a beheaded Meizu, a gleeful Naruto, a smirking Sasuke, a tied-up Gozu, and a terrified Sakura and Tazuna. Kakashi looked at his team. "Good job, team. Naruto, you didn't have to kill him." Naruto lost his smile and shrugged. "We're shinobi. Our job is to kill." Kakashi walked up to a crying Goza and talked in a serious voice. "Why did you attack us?" Goza looked up with tears of rage in his eyes. "Fuck you, you bastards killed my brother. I'll never tell you anything." "Sensei, I may be able to get him to talk, if I could get a few moments alone with him," suggested Naruto. Kakashi thought it was a bad idea since Naruto might kill him, but he would be a couple feet behind him in order to stop him in time. "Fine, Naruto, but what are you going to do?" asked Kakashi. Naruto smirked. "Don't worry, Sensei, by the end he'll be singing like a canary." Naruto dragged Gozu into the bushes and activated his Mangekyo Sharingan. Naruto muttered a single word: Tsukuyomi. Tsukuyomi world. Gozu found himself in a red and black world tied to a cross. He was in so much pain, all of his body felt on fire. Naruto appeared in front of him holding his katana with a maniacal smile on his face. Welcome to my Tsukuyomi, a world where I am Kami. Here I can control space and time. We could spend weeks in here, but only seconds would pass in the real world. Now tell me, why did you attack us? Fuck you, I'm not tell you anything, yelled Gozu in anger. Naruto only smirked as he got closer and stabbed him in the heart. He thought he died only to come back again in the same situation. Now if you don't answer my question, I'll be forced to keep torturing you until you do, said Naruto. Gozu refused again, and Naruto kept torturing and killing Gozu, only for him to come back to the nightmare that was Tsukuyomi. For Gozu it seemed like hours of intense pain and death, only to be resurrected. He finally cracked and told Naruto all about his orders from Momochi Zabuza and his employer Gato, the shipping magnate and CEO of the Gato Corporation. He even informed Naruto about how Gato was squeezing the life out of Nami no Kuni and using bandits to terrorize the country. He told him how Gato hired Zabuza to kill the bridge builder so he couldn't finish the bridge. He finished by telling him that Zabuza and his apprentice Haku would probably got after them next now that he and his brother had failed. Naruto nodded and released him from the Tsukuyomi, appearing back in the forest. Real world. Team 7 and Tazuna watched as Naruto looked at Gozu in the eyes, and Gozu immediately screamed in terror and pain before falling unconscious. Naruto deactivated his Mangekyo Sharingan and rubbed his eyes as Kurama's chakra repaired the damage the Mangekyo Sharingan did to them. He couldn't believe the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan. He could still remember the day Kurama had activated it. Flashback. Naruto lay in bed as he slept off a day of training. He slept soundly before he screamed in pain as he felt his eyes were on fire. Kurama, what the hell has happened? Asked Naruto as the pain in his eyes subsided. Don't worry kid, I was only upgrading your eyes to the next level, responded Kurama. The next level? But didn't you say the Mangekyo Sharingan would cause me to go blind the more I use it unless I have a sibling with the same power to take their eyes? Yes, I remember saying that until I realized that whatever damage the Mangekyo Sharingan does to your eyes, I can heal with my chakra, responded Kurama with self-pride. Naruto was impressed. He also had not thought Kurama could do that. He got up from bed and went to the mirror to look at his new eyes. He saw they were shaped like a combination of a 4-point shuriken and a 5-point star. He couldn't wait to start training to discover the new powers the Mangekyo Sharingan would give him. End flashback. Naruto was knocked out of his thoughts as Kakashi addresses him. Naruto, what did you do to him? Don't worry, sensei. I put him under a genjutsu and I have the information, replied Kakashi. How is that possible? You only looked into his eyes for a few seconds before he fell unconscious, asked Sakura. Naruto looked at Sakura with an annoyed expression. I told you I used a genjutsu. Now shut up so I can relay the information. Sakura only nodded fearfully. Naruto began explaining everything about Zabuza and Gato, the current situation in Nami no Kuni, and the ninja assassins after Tazuna to prevent him from finishing his bridge. Kakashi stood and thought, this mission is easily an A-rank mission now with Momochi Zabuza hunting you, Tazuna-san. Tazuna sank down to his knees with tears in his eyes. Please, you have to complete the mission. If I die, everyone will lose hope and Gato will win. My daughter and grandson will be devastated if I'm killed. Please don't leave. It's not my decision, it's the team's decision, Kakashi said, pointing toward the genin. I think we should go back. We're not prepared for this mission, said Sakura, hoping they could return to Konoha. I think we should continue. It would be a good chance to test my skills, said Sasuke cockily. Naruto was deep in thought, looking at the pros and cons of helping Tazuna. So far all he had were pros. If they continued the mission, he could recruit Zabuza and Haku to his side, perform a hostile takeover of Gato's corporation, establish a safe house in Nami no Kuni, and not have Tio chase after a damn cat. I think we should keep going. We can't just abandon the old drunk here, said Naruto. Kakashi looked at his 3 genin. 2 were determined to complete the mission, while 1 was too afraid of anything. He hoped Sakura would show her usefulness during the mission, or else he would have to consider a replacement. Okay, then let's continue the mission. Team 7. Team 7 and Tazuna continued on their journey to Nami no Kuni. After taking a boat trip and arriving on the island, Team 7 was currently making their way toward Tazuna's house. Walking up the road, Naruto sensed something in the bushes and threw a kunai at it, only to reveal a white rabbit pierced through the head. Naruto Baka, you killed an innocent rabbit, yelled Sakura. Naruto ignored her as he and Kakashi had the same thought, a white rabbit, but it's summer unless it's a domesticated rabbit. Substitution. Naruto then heard what sounded like a blade slicing through the air. "Everyone get down!" yelled Kakashi as he tackled Tazuna to the ground. The genin immediately obeyed. The large cleaver-like sword flew over their heads and embedded itself in a tree. A tall and noticeably muscular man with pale skin, short spiky black hair, wearing baggy pants with the striped pattern, and a mask landed on the sword's hilt. "Sharingan no Kakashi, I never expected to face you. Oh, and you're in charge of a team of brats. Anyway, all I want is the bridge builder. If you give him to me, you and your brats can go free," said Zabuza. Kakashi was about to speak until Naruto interrupted him. "Kakashi-sensei, I will fight Zabuza. You stay behind and protect the others." "Naruto, you can't be serious. He's an A-rank missing nin. You're no match for him," yelled Kakashi at Naruto's overconfidence. Naruto unsealed his katana. "Kakashi-sensei, I think we went over this. When I fought with you, I was holding back a lot." Naruto didn't wait for Kakashi's approval and ran forward towards Zabuza, who retrieved his sword from the trunk of the tree. Naruto summoned his katana and both swordsmen meet in the middle of the clearing. Metal clanged as both swordsmen tried to overpower the other. Zabuza was surprised that Naruto could hold his own against him. "Not bad, Gaki, but you're not strong enough to beat one of the 7 ninja swordsmen," stated Zabuza with a smirk. Naruto just gave his own smirk. "You're wrong because I'm holding back." Naruto jumped back and formed a one-handed seal. His entire body glowed as he deactivated his gravity seals. Naruto disappeared in a blur. Zabuza looked around and only his years of experience prevented the blonde from using his speed to behead Zabuza. "Hold still, you damn Gaki!" yelled Zabuza in frustration as he defended from the blonde's quick slices. "What's wrong, Zabuza? It looks like one can become one of the ninja swordsmen nowadays," taunted Naruto. Zabuza yelled in anger and charged at the blonde. He didn't see the kick that sent him into the nearby lake. Zabuza stood on the water with a murderous look in his eyes. Naruto just smirked and went to face Zabuza on the top of the water. With Team 7 and Tazuna watched the fight with wide eyes. They couldn't believe that Naruto, a fresh genin, was getting the better of an A-rank missing nin and a member of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. Kakashi, being an experienced ninja, could tell that Naruto, even though was showing great strength and skill, was still holding back. Sasuke was seething seeing that Naruto had such skill and strength when he deserved it more in order to kill his brother. Tazuna and Sakura could only watch with awe at Naruto's skill. Zabuza and Naruto stood at a distance from each other, both swords drawn, one with a scowl, the other with a smirk. Zabuza sheathed his sword and started doing hand signs. Naruto did the same. "Water style, water dragon jutsu!" yelled the missing nin as a dragon made of water rose from the surface of the lake and headed toward Naruto. Naruto created a seal-less shadow clone and both started performing hand signs. The blonde and his clone finished their seals before performing their respective jutsu. "Fire style, fire dragon jutsu!" yelled Naruto as he expelled a large dragon made of fire towards Zabuza. "Wind style, great breakthrough!" yelled the shadow clone and inhaled deeply before blowing out the chakra-infused wind. The wind and fire attacks both combined and formed a large white-hot fire dragon that overpowered the water dragon. The dragon made of fire continued towards Zabuza. "Water style, water wall jutsu!" yelled Zabuza as he spewed out a wall of water that protected him from the fire dragon. After the water dragon was stopped, Zabuza made one hand seal and a thick chakra-infused fog rolled in. "Kirigakyu no jutsu," Zabuza said calmly as he disappeared into the mist. "There are 8 vital spots on the body: heart, kidneys, jugular, liver, spine, lungs, and the larynx. Which one shall I choose?" taunted the former Mist Jonin. Naruto only smirked and activated his Mangekyo Sharingan. Normally the regular Sharingan wouldn't be able to see through the chakra-infused mist, but the Mangekyo Sharingan could distinguish the difference between jutsu and person. Easily locating Zabuza trying to sneak up on him, Naruto smirked as he summoned 4 shuriken, infused them with wind chakra, and threw them at Zabuza. The swordsman dodged the deadly shuriken and tried to slice at Naruto. Keyword tried, since Naruto dodged and kicked him out of the mist. The mist cleared, showing Naruto finishing hand signs. "Water style, great waterfall jutsu!" yelled Naruto. A vortex of water formed around him and violently shot at Zabuza, pushing him away from the lake and into a tree. Naruto appeared in front of him with a kunai in hand and his Mangekyo Sharingan still active. Zabuza looked in his eyes and couldn't help but feel scared. "Who the hell are you?" "Your executioner," replied Naruto with an emotionless face. All of a sudden a saban needle pierced Zabuza in the neck and his body fell into a limp form. A boy no older than 15 landed in the tree wearing a Kiri Hunter nin uniform. He spoke in a soft, almost feminine voice, but Naruto could tell that from his scent he was a boy. His scent also revealed that he was around Zabuza a lot. Naruto realized that this must have been Zabuza's apprentice Haku. Thank you for defeating Zabuza. I could not have hoped to defeat him by myself, Haku said in thanks. Team 7 approached the scene with caution, while Haku appeared next to Zabuza and picked him up. I will take his body now to dispose of it, you have my thanks. Naruto decided to keep up his charade. No problem, I'm happy to help. Haku then left in a swirl of leaves with Zabuza on his shoulders. Kakashi and Team 7 approached Naruto. He quickly deactivated his Mangekyo Sharingan before they could notice. Good job, Naruto. It's not every day that a genin beats an A-rank jonin, Kakashi said with an eye smile. On the inside, Kakashi wanted to interrogate the blonde to find out what else he was hiding. Sasuke only scowled at him. How is he so strong? It should be me with that power. I need it to destroy him. Sakura only looked at his in awe and fear. Wow, he's really strong. I don't believe that he can be this strong, and was the dope of the class. Inner Sakura could help but disagree with her master Cha. I bet Sasuke-kun is much stronger than Naruto Baka. Tazuna looked at Naruto with newfound respect. This kid is really strong. To think that he defeated someone who was making their sensei nervous and not break a sweat. I'm glad I went to Konoha with this mission. Before Kakashi could ask him any questions, he spoke. I think we should continue on to your home, Tazuna-san. It's getting dark out here. Tazuna only nodded and said that his house was close by, only a few minutes up the road. Team 7 and Tazuna walked quietly toward Tazuna's house. Meanwhile, Naruto was busy figuring out how to track down the missing Nin and his apprentice. If they didn't join him, he would be forced to kill them to avoid fighting them in the future. Tazuna's house. Team 7 and Tazuna approached Tazuna's small two-story house. He opened the door to reveal a barely furnished and small living room/dining room. Tsunami, Inari, I'm home, yelled Tazuna as he and Team 7 entered the house. A blue-haired woman wearing an apron came from the kitchen and greeted her father. Oh father, it's good to see you again. These are the shinobi that protected me on my journey here. Hatake Kakashi the Jonin gave a nod. Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto. Sakura gave a small bow, Sasuke gave a grunt, and Naruto, similar to Kakashi, only nodded. Tsunami gave her own bow and thanked them for protecting her father. She invited them to sit at the table while she prepared something to eat. Kakashi thought now was a good time to question Naruto about his hidden skills. So Naruto, how is it that you're so skilled and was the last of your class? Asked Kakashi. Everyone perked up to hear his answer. Naruto didn't even look up at them. Kakashi-sensei, we're shinobi. We are trained in deception and to fool our enemies. Kakashi could only nod and ask another question. Then where did you learn all those high-powered jutsu? Naruto mentally debated. What do you think, Kurama-sensei? Should I tell them about you or lie to them? Tell the copy Nin the truth, but phrase it so the others don't understand, replied Kurama. I learned all those jutsu from my sensei. He has thousands of years of knowledge and has been with me my entire life, answered Naruto. Everyone but Kakashi had confused looks on their faces. Kakashi realized that Naruto was talking about Kyuubi. He really hoped that the fox wasn't influencing the boy in a bad direction. Sasuke was only frustrated and angry that Naruto only gave him vague answers to whom his sensei was. Sasuke wanted to know who was teaching Naruto so he could steal his sensei and learn from his instead, and use that power to kill his brother. Damn it, who the hell is he, dope? Yelled Sasuke. Naruto realized the reason why Sasuke was angry and mentally smirked. Don't worry your pretty little head, Uchiha. Even if you didn't know who he was, he would never train you. What, why not? Asked Sasuke. Because he hates you and your damn clan. On the night your entire family was killed, he was jumping for joy and wanting to shake the hand of whoever did it, Naruto replied with a smirk. Sasuke was livid. No one talked about what happened to his clan or else it would bring his wrath. Kakashi was watching from the side and was about to jump in to stop them, but Sasuke lunged himself at Naruto across the table. I'll kill you! Yelled Sasuke as he reached for Naruto's throat. Sasuke was too slow and Naruto unsealed his katana and put it at Sasuke's throat. Immediately Sasuke stopped to avoid his head being sliced off. TSK Uchiha, you know attacking a fellow Konohanin is punishable by death. Not that that would happen, you're too busy being the civilian council's bitch. They wouldn't like that their favorite toy would be killed. That's too bad because I would have no problem killing you. I don't care what the civilian council would do to me, so killing you wouldn't be a problem since you are weak and don't even have your precious bloodline, yet you still have your clan's arrogance that got them killed, said Naruto with an evil smile. Naruto, Sasuke, that's enough now, both of you will stop this nonsense, or else I will write a disciplinary report for both of you, threatened Kakashi as he separated them from each other. Sasuke only scowled at Naruto, then left to go to a corner to brood with Sakura following him like a little bitch. Naruto only smirked at the Uchiha as he walked to the corner of the room. Everyone else was relieved that the tension finally dropped. only to rise again when Tsunami served them their meal. Sasuke would glare at Naruto as he ate, and Naruto would ignore him and continue eating. The tension was interrupted when the front door opened and an 8-year-old kid entered. Tazuna was the first to greet him. Inari-kun, it's good to see you again. The boy named Inari ran toward his grandfather and hugged him. Gigi, I miss you. Inari then turned his attention to the Konoha nin. These are shinobi from Konoha, they are here to protect me while I finish the bridge, Tazuna said with a smile. Inari only got angry. Why are they here? They're only going to get killed. Gato is too strong. Inari, that was rude, apologize. Tsunami said, scolding her son. Inari ignored her and ran upstairs to his room to brood similarly like a certain Uchiha. Hey Uchiha, if he broods anything like you, I think we found your long-lost brother, said Naruto as he joked on Sasuke's expense. Everyone laughed except Sasuke and Sakura. Sasuke then went back to his daily brooding session with Sakura at his side. Kakashi-sensei, what are we going to do now that Zabuza is gone? Asked Sakura. Kakashi looked at the ceiling, contemplating. Zabuza isn't dead, he's still alive. I just realized that Hunter Nin was probably a fake. Usually Hunter Nin destroy the bodies of missing Nin on the spot, except he took the body away. He also attacks Zabuza with Saban needles. Usually Hunter Nin don't attack with Saban needles unless they need the target alive. So does that mean he will be back soon? Asked Naruto. No, I think he'll come back in a week. The damage he sustained in your battle with him will keep him healing for a week. So for the rest of the week we will be training to get stronger, replied Kakashi. After dinner, Tsunami led them upstairs to the rooms they would be sleeping in. Everyone woke up the next morning, and after breakfast Kakashi led them to a clearing in the woods to begin training. What will we be training in, Kakashi-sensei? Asked a curious Sakura. We will be learning how to climb trees without hands, Kakashi exclaimed with an eye smile. Naruto groaned and started walking away, while Sasuke and Sakura looked at their sensei in confusion. Kakashi's sweat dropped when Naruto walked away. And Naruto, where are you going? Naruto gave him an annoyed look. I've already mastered this exercise. In case you don't remember, I walked on water yesterday when fighting Zabuza. Oh yeah, I've been meaning to ask you, how did you do that? Asked Sakura. I don't feel like explaining. Listen to Kakashi, he's about to teach you the first step of the exercise. Naruto left before Sakura could annoy him anymore. Once Naruto sensed he was far away enough, he bit his thumb and smeared blood on his summoning tattoo. Kuchio's no jutsu, said calmly, and in a puff of smoke there was a small gray fox. Good evening, Naruto-sama, how may I be of service? Asked the gray fox. I need you to track someone, Kurin, Naruto responded before taking a cloth with blood on it. This blood belongs to the person I want you to track. I got it from the battle I had with said person yesterday. Very well, Naruto-sama. I will track the person to the best of my abilities, the gray fox responded before sniffing the bloody cloth. He then took off in the direction of the scent. Gato's hideout. Naruto stood hiding in one of the trees overlooking what looked like a hideout. Surrounding the hideout were around 100 bandits and a chain-link fence. The building itself was tall and was large. Apparently the architect didn't know the meaning of hideout when building it. Naruto knew the bandits stood no chance against him, but he wanted to make sure Gato was there before he stormed the hideout and slaughtered everyone. Naruto decided to sneak into the hideout and check for himself if Gato or Zabuza was inside. If not, he would have to stake out the hideout until they showed up. Naruto did some quick hand signs and whispered chameleon jutsu. The jutsu caused the light to reflect from Naruto's body and look transparent. As long as he didn't get too close, he wouldn't be detected very easily. He entered the hideout, evading the guarding bandits, and searched room to room until he heard yelling. He looked inside a room and saw a short man in a black suit yelling at Zabuza and the fake Hunter Nin about their failed mission. He slipped into the room and waited in the corner for a chance to talk to the missing Nin. Inside Gato's hideout. Inside the hideout, Zabuza laid in bed exhausted and with a hurt ego. How could he, the demon of the mist, have lost to a genin? He couldn't believe it. The kid must either have been really talented or really lucky. He vowed that next time he faced the kid he wouldn't hold back and wouldn't stop until he had the kid's head. While Zabuza ranted in his head about his futile revenge, Haku looked at him with worry. To Zabuza, Haku was just a tool to be used and discarded. But to Haku, Zabuza was his most precious person, and he would sacrifice his life for him and his dream. Haku worried about Zabuza. The blonde genin had really done a lot of damage with his final jutsu, and the added trauma from putting him in a near-death state had only increased his recovery period. He would need to leave soon and get herbs and medicines to heal him faster so he would be 100% when fighting the Konoha team. As both missing Nin thought about their objectives and worries, a small man wearing a black suit and sunglasses, while using a cane entered the room with two bandits holding swords. Both shinobi snapped their attention at the new arrival. They could see he was angry but neither care why. "How could you have lost? I paid you a lot of money to kill the bridge builder," yelled an angry Gato. Gato got closer to Zabuza. "It looks like I wasted my money hiring you. I shouldn't have hired you just because you're called the Demon of the Mist. The next time you fail me I won't pay and I'll tell those real hunter Nin where you are." Gato and his bodyguards walked out of the room, leaving Zabuza and Haku alone. "Why do we work for them, Zabuza-sama?" asked Haku. "Because we need the money to be able to fund another coup against the Mizukage. For the 3 million ryo he is paying us, it's more than enough of payment to kill a bridge builder," responded Zabuza. All of a sudden they tensed when they heard a voice in the room. "TSK, TSK, TSK, is this what the might demon of the mist has been reduced to? A lowly missing Nin that will use their skills to kill civilians and working for weak businessmen? Who's there? Show yourself," snapped Zabuza. Naruto stepped out of the shadows and in front of Zabuza. Haku was quick to put himself between the blonde and his master, pull out some bond needles, and stand in a battle-ready position. Naruto put his hands up in surrender but couldn't help but smirk at their tenseness. "Relax, I'm not here to fight, I'm here to make you an offer that could get you out of this situation." "What kind of offer?" asked Zabuza with his hand on his kubikuri bocho. "Why, the chance to make your dream a reality and 3x what Gato has offered you," responded Naruto with a smirk. Zabuza sat there with disbelief in his eyes. "How could you help me? Also, how could you afford to offer me 15 million ryo? Maybe I should start with my name. My name is Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, heir to the Uzumaki and Namikaze clans in Konoha. The reason I can offer you the money is because I'm probably richer than Gato right now." Zabuza and Haku looked at Naruto with wide eyes. "How I will be able to help you with your dream is quite simple. I will be able to fight Yugura because, like him, I am also a Jinchuriki. I hold the Kyuubi, the strongest of the Biju." If Zabuza and Haku hadn't been surprised, they sure as hell were now. They stood there with wide eyes and jaws on the ground. "Let's say we accept your offer, what would you have us do?" asked Zabuza. "Well, I'm gathering allies to destroy Konoha. You won't have to do anything until I gather a force large enough to destroy Konoha," responded Naruto. "You want to destroy Konoha, but isn't that your home?" asked Haku. A dark aura formed around Naruto. "No, Konoha hasn't ever been my home. It was a living hell for me most of my life, and I swore that one day I would walk the streets of Konoha while the village burned and the villagers screamed in terror." Both Zabuza and Haku shivered at the dark aura the blonde was giving off. They couldn't believe that the blonde hated his own village so much. Unlike Zabuza, he doesn't want to take over his home village, he wants to destroy it. "Can we at least think about it before accepting?" asked Zabuza. "Fine, in 1 week you will come to the bridge, and after we put on a charade for my team, go to the coordinates on this map." Naruto threw them a map of Nami no Kuni with an area circled there. "You can give me your answer." "What's at these coordinates?" asked Haku. "A safe house I am going to build during the week. It will probably be finished by the time our fight ends," replied Naruto. Zabuza and Haku nodded, then Naruto disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Zabuza did a lot of thinking, and in the end they had nothing to lose and a lot to gain if the blonde held up his end of the bargain. Haku, on the other hand, could tell the blonde was evil to the core, more evil than Zabuza, and had without a doubt that he would discard them when he had no use for him and Zabuza. Haku decided to not tell Zabuza since the blonde would help Zabuza achieve his dream. If Zabuza was happy, then Haku was happy. The next day, after Naruto had returned the previous night, he had seen that everyone was already fast asleep. He had snuck in and went to bed. He knew Kakashi would probably ask him questions in the morning, but he didn't care. When Naruto woke up the next morning at dawn, he got dressed quickly to avoid Kakashi at breakfast and not have to answer any questions. He cursed his luck when he came downstairs and Kakashi was sitting at the dining room table, except this time instead of having his book in his face, he had a face of pure seriousness. "Naruto, where were you last night?" asked Kakashi. "I was just training, Kakashi-sensei," casually responded Naruto. "If you were just training, why couldn't I find you when I went looking for you, Naruto?" asked Kakashi. Naruto got annoyed. "I training my fire jutsu, Kakashi. You couldn't find me because I was practicing hiding my presence too." "Fine, then where are you going now?" "I'm going to keep training since you obviously need to train the other two so they don't become a burden," responded Naruto as he walked out the door. "I wasn't done talking, Genin. I want you to go with Tazuna-san and protect him while he's building his bridge," stated Kakashi. "Fine, I will be back in an hour to accompany Tazuna-san to the bridge." Naruto then disappeared in a swirl of leaves before Kakashi could protest. Naruto reappeared in the woods far from the house. He unsealed paper, a brush, and ink. Might as well test out my new blood clone, thought Naruto. Naruto started drawing a very complicated ceiling array. When he finished, he cut his palm to draw blood and channeled a lot of chakra into his hands before slamming his hands into the paper. A bright light enveloped the area, and when the light faded, an exact clone of Naruto stood where the paper used to be. Naruto was proud of himself for thinking of such an ingenious jutsu. He thought back to all the benefits the blood clone gave that shadow clones didn't. Blood clones wouldn't dispel after one hit. Instead, they would only dispel if they were hit with killing blows. Blood clones also produced their own chakra and would regain any chakra they used. This was useful for clones that needed to stay in the field for large amounts of time. Although one disadvantage a blood clone had was that if a clone was in the field for too long and dispelled, all that information from the clone would return. But he had added a data blocking seal to the seal algorithm, so when they dispelled, he didn't receive the clone's memories. He gave the clone orders to protect Tazuna and obey Kakashi, so he would suspect him of anything. Naruto knew he would probably not see Kakashi or his team throughout the week because he would be busy building the safe house. The clone left, and Naruto made his way to the safe house location. After running for 10 miles straight, he arrived at the edge of the island on the south side of Nami no Kuni. He went to work and created 50 shadow clones to help. He first used earth manipulation to make a stairway around a mile into the ground. The 25 clones went to work and used earth manipulation to sculpt out hallways and rooms into the earth. The other 25 used their manipulation to create support beams and furniture for the safe house. He wanted the safe house to be big enough to hold a large force. If his plans worked out, he would have a lot of allies. Day before fight. Time flew while Naruto was building the safe house. He realized that the next day was his fight with Zabuza. He looked at the hideout, and was pleased to say that it could hold and house 500 people, and was made up of several levels. He made his way up the initial staircase and opened a trapdoor that led to a regular-looking shack. He slapped a blood seal on the trapdoor so no one could open it unless their blood was familiar to the seal. Naruto made his way to a clearing near the house and waited for the blood clone to arrive. When it arrived, it gave Naruto a recap on what had transpired the entire week. While the clone explained, he could help but frown and become annoyed. Apparently during the week Kakashi had watched him like a hawk and almost never gave him any privacy. Add to that the annoyance of Sasuke's arrogance and Sakura's fangirlish tendencies, and Naruto was glad he had left the clone in his place. Unknown to them, as they were so engrossed in their conversation, two eyes watched from a far distance. You would think that it was just a curious civilian, but what was peculiar was that one eye was dark-colored while the other was blood-red with 3 tomos spinning wildly. Kakashi watched as Naruto and apparently a clone conversed with his Sharingan to be able to read their lips. The clone was telling it what had happened the past week. The question was, what had Naruto been doing and how had the clone lasted so long without dispelling? He remembered that when Naruto had sparred with Sasuke, he had gotten hit with enough force to dispel a normal shadow clone. As he contemplated, he noticed that the clone had finished conversing with Naruto and dispelled, except instead of dispelling in a puff of smoke, it dispelled into a pool of blood with the seal floating in the blood. Naruto was smart enough to burn the seal before leaving, but Kakashi had seen the seal algorithm and memorized it with his Sharingan. Kakashi made his way back to the house where he sat down and started reading his book, hoping to not have to deal with the trouble Naruto was hiding too soon. At the bridge, Kakashi and Team 7 made their way toward the bridge. They were sure that today Zabuza would come back and try and kill Tazuna again. When they reached the bridge, they sensed the all-too-familiar chakra-laced mist, and the bridge workers passed out on the ground or sliced up with what looked like electric burns. "What happened here?" asked a scared Tazuna. One of the workers that had not passed out yet responded, "Monsters. They're monsters." Team 7 prepared for battle. Naruto unsealed his katana, Kakashi revealed his Sharingan, and Sasuke and Sakura took out kunai. The mist dissipated to reveal 3 figures walking out of the mist. The first 2 were the all-too-familiar Zabuza and Haku, although the third was not recognized by Naruto until Kakashi spoke up. "Zabuza, I see that you brought back your fake hunter Nin friend and an extra, or should I say Rokusho Awa A-rank missing Nin from Konoha," exclaimed Kakashi. Naruto then remembered who he was. He had read in his bingo book entry that Aoi abandoned the village and stole an important scroll in the Nidame's Raijin no Ken. He was later ambushed but fought off the pursuing Anbu and captured Marino Ibiki, who he tortured for information. Ibiki later escaped with the scroll while Aoi escaped with the Raijin. It was then confirmed that he joined AIM, Hidden Rain, and given Jonin rank. Naruto would have recruited Aoi, but decided against it because the only reason he was A rank was because he had the Raijin, and without it he was Chunin level at best. "That's right, and right now you're in the way of my money. Give us the bridge builder, and we might spare your lives," threatened Aoi. "Sorry, we can't give you Tazuna-san, but we will be taking your head and the Raijin back to Konoha," stated Kakashi. Naruto, you take Zabuza. I think you'll be able to defeat him. Sasuke, you take the fake hunter Nin and I'll take Aoi. Sakura, you protect Tazuna-san, ordered Kakashi. Sasuke scowled at the fact that Naruto got to face the A-rank Nin while all he got was some loser that wouldn't be able to defeat an Uchiha, but he nodded nonetheless. Naruto ran to engage Zabuza, Kakashi to Aoi, and Sasuke to Haku. Naruto vs. Zabuza. Well, Zabuza, I hope you came up with an answer yet, but let's have a friendly spar so I can see what I am paying for, Naruto said with a smirk. Zabuza only nodded and drew his Kubikara Bocho, and Naruto his Ryuzaburito. Both engaged in a Kenjutsu fight, metal clanging and sparks flying as both swordsmen fought for dominance. While Zabuza had strength on his side, Naruto had speed and agility. Naruto weaved and countered Zabuza's sliced. Naruto gained the upper hand when he channeled wind chakra to sharpen the blade and start slicing into Zabuza's Kubikara Bocho. Zabuza's eyes widened and he jumped back, putting distance between him and the blonde. Naruto decided to shift the battle into ninjutsu and started making hand signs. Zabuza did the same since now Naruto had shown his advantage in Kenjutsu. Zabuza was the first to perform a jutsu water style, Water Dragon Jutsu. Fire style, Fireball Jutsu. Counter Naruto with a large fireball. Both jutsu cancelled each other out. Naruto used his speed to get behind Zabuza and called out his jutsu. Wind style, Drilling Air Bullet. Naruto fired 4 air bullets and 2 hit Zabuza, but he dissolved into water. Water Clone, not bad, thought Naruto. Naruto was knocked out of his thoughts when Zabuza came from behind. Water style, Wild Water Wave. Naruto dodged the attack and countered fire style, Burning Ash. Naruto expelled chakra-enhanced gunpowder from his lungs at Zabuza. The Kuririn tried to dodge but was burned when Naruto clicked his teeth and caused the ash to catch fire. Naruto walked up to Zabuza and put the katana to his throat only for him to dissolve into water. Naruto smirked. He was glad Zabuza was a fun challenge. Zabuza ran up to him from behind and engaged in Kenjutsu again. Zabuza had thought about using the hidden miss jutsu, but squashed the idea remembering the last time he had used the jutsu. He remembered that when he had gotten close enough, he looked into the blonde's eyes and saw blood-red eyes with what looked like a star in them. It looked so similar to Kakashi's Sharingan except for the star, he wondered if it was some enhanced version of the Sharingan. He remembered how the blonde had easily evaded his attacks, almost as if he could see Zabuza as clear as day in the mist. He was knocked out of his thoughts when Naruto put some distance between them and created a clone. He didn't like how things were going. Zabuza started making hand signs, as did Naruto and the clone. Fire style, Fire Dragon Jutsu, exclaimed Naruto as he exhaled a large fire dragon. Wind style, Great Breakthrough, exclaimed the clone and exhaled a gust of wind. The fire and wind attacks mixed, greatly increasing the power of the wind attacks. Zabuza stood wide-eyed and finished his hand signs hoping this would stop the attack. He poured as much chakra into the jutsu and yelled water style, Water Wall Jutsu. Zabuza spit out a large amount of water that took the form of a wall. The water wall was able to hold back the attack, but just barely. Zabuza was exhausted and had no chakra left after the last attack. He sank to his knees and breathed hard. Naruto came up to him and handed him a soldier pill to replenish his chakra. You'll need this for when you make your escape, said Naruto. Zabuza nodded and took the pill. Once he ate it, he looked around to see the destruction he and the blonde had caused. He then laid down to try and recover some energy he had lost fighting the blonde. Kakashi vs. Aoi. Kakashi and Aoi stood apart from each other. Aoi took out and activated the Raijin while Kakashi started forming hand signs. Kakashi knew he couldn't fight Aoi at close range while he had that sword. Water style, Water Dragon Jutsu, yelled Kakashi as a water dragon rode from the ocean and attacked Aoi. Aoi jumped back to avoid the water dragon. He realized that Kakashi wasn't going to let him get near with the sword, so Aoi switched to ninjutsu as well and started making hand signs. He threw one of his umbrellas into the air and it floated in place, ninja art, raining needle death. All of a sudden the umbrella started firing a large barrage of needles at Kakashi. Kakashi had finished his hand signs before the barrage hit him earth style. Mud wall, a large wall made of earth rose from the ground and protected Kakashi from the attack. Aoi used this chance to get in close combat with Kakashi where he would have the upper hand. When he looked behind the wall he saw Kakashi was not there anymore. Time to end this, exclaimed Kakashi. Kakashi did a few hand signs before bracing his right arm with his left hand. Lightning sparked from the palm of Kakashi's hand and danced around him wildly. Aoi ran toward Kakashi to behead him before he could fully charge the jutsu. Raikiri, yelled Kakashi as he thrust his hand out toward Aoi, intent on piercing his chest. Both shinobi charged at each other, intent on finding out which weapon of lightning was stronger. Time slowed down as they got closer and closer. When they both reached arm's length from each other, all they could hear was flesh being pierced. Aoi looked down to see that Kakashi's Raikiri had cut through the Raijin blade and pierced his heart. Aoi sank to his knees when Kakashi removed his hand from his chest. How? Stuttered Aoi. Kakashi looked him in the eye. My Raikiri is my most powerful jutsu. It once cut through a bolt of lightning. The Raijin blade was no match for my Raikiri. You lost, now die like the scum you are, said Kakashi. Aoi had finally died after hearing Kakashi's answer. The light in his eyes flickered before going dark forever. Kakashi pulled his hai back over his Sharingan and looked back at the other matches. He saw that Zabuza was laid on the ground with Naruto not too far away, but when he looked closer he saw that Zabuza was still breathing. He didn't think that Naruto would have let his opponent live, especially considering what he had done to the demon brothers. He then looked at Sasuke's match and watched as his student was trapped in a dome of ice and his body littered with Saban needles. He was about to go help when the dome collapsed and Sasuke was lying in a prone position on the ground. Not going to describe the battle with Sasuke and Haku, you all know how Haku kicked Sasuke's ass. All of a sudden everyone heard clapping and turned their heads toward the source. They saw Gato accompanied by at least 200 bandits. Well, it looks like you failed again, Zabuza. I knew you would lose, and you even lost to the same kid from last time. Wow, you really are weak, haha, laughed Gato. Gato, what are you doing here? Demanded an angry and standing Zabuza. Why, I'm here to make a lot of money. Paying missing Nin is always so expensive. I decided that instead of paying you, I would hire some cheap bandits to kill you after you killed the bridge builder and the other ninja. I would then collect the bounty on your head and anyone else worth something and be even richer, replied Gato. You traitor, I'll kill you, Gato! Yelled Zabuza as he stepped forward. I don't think so. You might want to reconsider coming quietly, said Gato with a devious smirk. Gato snapped his fingers and 2 bandits came out of the group holding a tied-up Tsunami and Inari. Tsunami-chan, Inari-kun! Yelled Tazuna in fear. Now Tazuna, tell the ninja to stand down and come quietly, or else your family dies, threatened Gato. Tazuna was about to obey until Naruto held his hand up to stop him. Don't, even if you do what he says, he will still kill them. Then what should I do? Asked a desperate Tazuna. Don't worry, I'll get them back, said Naruto before doing a hand seal. His body glowed as the gravity seals on his body deactivated. He disappeared in a burst of speed and kicked both the bandits holding Tazuna's family, and snatched Inari and Tsunami before the bandits could react. He gave them both to Tazuna before he turned his attention back to the 200 bandits. On the outside he had an emotionless mask, but on the inside his bloodlust was fighting to get outside and slaughter the bandits, just for the fun of it and to bathe in their blood. It didn't help that Kurama was also encouraging him to do the same. Gato scowled when he realized he had just lost leverage against Tazuna. He then turned to the bandits he had hired. Kill them all. Whoever brings me the head of Zabuza or the blonde kid gets a bonus, exclaimed Gato. All the bandits let out a cheer. They all began to move forward until they stopped in fear in front of Naruto. Everyone tensed and looked at Naruto in fear as he radiated a large amount of killing intent. Naruto started chuckling evilly before it gradually increased until it was a full-blown evil laugh that sent shivers down everyone's spine. Naruto had just unleashed his bloodlust. Naruto opened his eyes and revealed his no longer blue eyes, but red slits. His nails grew into claws, his fangs lengthened, his whisker marks darkened, and a shroud of red chakra with 2 tails covered his body. Normally only 1 tail would appear when he was in a bloodlust state, but suppressing his bloodlust for over 2 months caused it to gain intensity, and now that it was finally released it came back full force. Behind Naruto everyone was shaking in fear, except Sasuke, who was out cold. Is the seal breaking? No, it looks like the chakra is being controlled. Naruto is controlling the Kyuubi's chakra, but why is he using it to kill a bunch of bandits, thought Kakashi. Damn, the kid was right, he is like Yagura, except this chakra is much more evil and powerful than when Yagura used his power, thought Zabuza. What is this power? I have never felt anything like this before. I remember him saying that he was a Jinchuriki, so this is the power of the Kyuubi. I don't like it, but if it will help Zabuza-sama achieve his dream then I will not complain, thought Haku. Naruto decided to stop intimidating and disappeared in a burst of speed. He started slaughtering the bandits. The bandits screamed in pain and horror as they watched themselves being mowed down and killed with ease. Gato looked in horror as his army was being reduced to nothing in a matter of seconds by one blonde teenager. After 5 minutes of slaughtering, all that was left on the bridge were chunks of bandits, the stench of burning flesh, and one pale Gato. Naruto walked up to Gato as his red chakra cloak dissipated and Gato fell to the floor and backed away in fear. "And no get away, please, I'll give you anything you want. Money, women, power, just please don't kill me," pleaded Gato. "What's wrong, Gato? What happened to all that big talk about killing us and collecting our heads?" Although I should have expected big talk from a little man, Naruto smirked when he could see Gato was turning red with anger. Naruto decided to end this. "Well, it was nice knowing you, Gato. But as I've always wanted to say, it's only business," said Naruto, as he unsealed his katana and sliced Gato's head off in one fluid motion and picked up his head. Naruto made his way back to the other, and inwardly smirked at the fear in their eyes and faces. He then walked up to Tazuna, and handed him Gato's head. "Here, Tazuna-san, as evidence that your country is now free of Gato's iron grip," said Naruto. Tazuna was knocked out of his shock, and the events that had just happened came rushing back, and he jumped for joy. Tsunami and Inari also had tears of joy in their eyes as they celebrated that Gato was gone and Wave was free. Over with Team 7 and a newly awakened Sasuke. Sasuke had woken up just in time to see Naruto slaughter the bandits in his chakra cloak. They looked at their teammate in fear while Kakashi looked at him in worry. Kakashi wondered if the fox had caused Naruto to slaughter the bandits mercilessly or if it was of his own free will. Either way, if Naruto had been influenced, or he did it of his own free will, he would have to get Naruto help before it gets worse. During the chaos, no one had noticed that Zabuza and Haku had slipped away and were making their way to the safe house to accept Naruto's offer. The following day, Tazuna and his family had spread the news that Gato was dead and Wave was free. Everyone in the town celebrated and threw a big party for the ninja that had helped them get rid of Gato. Currently, Team 7 was enjoying the festivities as Naruto ate food, Sasuke brooded, Sakura asked for a date with Sasuke, and Kakashi drank sake while keeping an eye on Naruto. What Kakashi didn't know was that the Naruto he was watching was a blood clone. The real Naruto was currently in Gato's office going through his files and belongings. Naruto had already found bank statements from banks all over the elemental continents, with the totals amounting to over 1 billion ryo. Although he had been wrong about being richer than Gato at first, he sure as hell was now. Now all Naruto had to do was find his checkbook and a copy of Gato's signature. He would then be able to forge fake checks and withdraw the money using blood clones disguised as Gato before the rest of the world finds out he's dead. After searching for 10 minutes of searching his office, he finds nothing and kicks the desk in frustration. When he kicked the desk, a secret compartment had opened up and revealed what he had been looking for, and more inside was his checkbook and copies of checks with the signature in them. Also inside were deeds to properties located all over the continent in every single country. He praised his luck on such incredible finds and got to work. He made 6 blood clone seals and gave them the locations of the banks they were going to be going to. He told them that they needed to be done by the end of the week, or else the accounts would be claimed by the state. He also ordered them that once the money was all collected, they'd put all the money into a storage scroll and have a fox take the scroll to the original. After being given their orders, the clones scattered to their assigned target and missions. Naruto sat in the chair of Gato's office and contemplated his next move. He knew Kakashi would report his outbreak to the Hokage, and then the old monkey would probably tell the council. If that happened, the usual would happen. The civilians would demand his death, Danzo would demand him for emotional zombie training, and the shinobi side would be conflicted. Except with this, it would give the shinobi side more reason to lean toward Danzo's way of thinking. Naruto sat in contemplation before deciding he would deal with it when the situation arrived. He made his way back to Tazuna's house and avoided the party in town, mostly because he hated parties, and secondly, he didn't want to attract attention if someone saw him and his clone at the same time. 1 week later. Naruto sighed in relief. The mission was finally over and they would be heading back to Konoha. He didn't miss Konoha or anything. The problem was he had left the shadow clones doing research at his estate only enough chakra to last a week. This time he was planning on upgrading his research staff to blood clone to avoid something like that. As Team 7 waved, mostly Sakura and Kakashi, everyone in Wave was at the bridge to say goodbye to their heroes. After all the goodbyes, Team 7 made their way back to Konoha. "Hey, I just remembered what we should call the bridge," asked a curious Tsunami. "How about the Great Naruto Bridge? Because he got rid of Gato for us and gave us back our hopes," said a seriously happy Tazuna. Everyone around him nodded in agreement. Over with Naruto, he felt a shiver go down his spine with the doing something out of character feeling. He just shrugged it off and continued walking to the hellhole he would be burning in the future. 3 months later. During the last 3 months after the mission to Nami to Kuni, Naruto had been suffering. He was forced to once again take D-rank missions with the occasional C-rank. Naruto was currently in his backyard training ground. In front of his was a 3-pronged kunai with a seal algorithm on the handle. Scattered throughout the field there were similar kunai and a group of clones surrounding each kunai. Naruto was excited. Just a few days ago his research clones had finally figured out the mechanics of the Hiraishin, and now Naruto was going to test it out. He disappeared in a yellow flash and 3 seconds later reappeared near the first Hiraishin kunai, while the clones dispelled. The second yellow flash was born. Naruto would have to practice the Hiraishin since he only used it 3 times and traveled short distances. It took at least 1/4 of his reserves. Naruto thought back to when he had returned from Nami no Kuni. He was right when he guessed that Kakashi would tell the old monkey and in turn he would tell the council. Flashback. Naruto was eating at Ichiraku Ramen when an ANBU had interrupted his meal and told him the council had summoned him. Naruto left with the ANBU and they disappeared in a swirl of leaves. They reappeared in front of the familiar doors of the council room. The ANBU escorted Naruto in, and he noticed the Sandaime in the front smoking his pipe. He noticed the glares of hatred and fear from the civilian council, and the emotionless faces of the clan heads and Danzo. "Hello Naruto, it's nice to see you," said Sarutobi with a smile. "Good evening, Hokage-sama. Might I ask why I was summoned?" replied Naruto with an emotionless attitude. "Well Naruto, we received information from your sensei that you may have lost control of your tenant while on your mission, is this true?" asked Sarutobi. "No Hokage-sama, I did not lose control over my tenant during the mission." Naruto was interrupted by a pink-haired banshee. "Liar, you killed all those bandits that stood in your way and almost killed my daughter," screeched Hiranosuke. Naruto leaped ki at the councilwoman, who promptly sat down. "Don't interrupt me, I wasn't finished. As I was saying, I didn't lose control, because I was fully in control of my tenant's power, and when I was finished getting rid of the threat I stopped using my tenant's power." He then turned to Hiranosuke. "Also for your information, I wouldn't kill a weak whore like your daughter, it would be a waste of my time." Naruto mentally smirked as the civilian council erupted in anger and demanded his head for the disrespect he had shown them. Sarutobi silenced them and turned to Naruto. "Naruto, you are to show the council the respect they deserve." "I'll show them respect, Hokage-sama," the civilian council smirked smugly. "I already have respect for the clan heads, but I won't show the civilians respect until they become something other than useless fools." The civilians erupted in anger until they were silenced by Sarutobi again. Nara Shikaka was the next to ask a question. "You said that you were in control of your tenant. How much of his power can you control?" asked Shikaku. "Currently I am able to control 4 tails, due to the durability of my body. I estimate that by the time I am 16 I will be able to control all 9 tails and have full control over my tenant," answered Shikaku. Everyone in the council room had mixed feelings. The clan heads were worried that Naruto would lose control of his power. Danzo was having a mental orgasm, and already formulating plans on getting the Jinchuriki under his thumb. The civilian council was wetting their pants in fear, since with that kind of power, he could easily take out his anger on them, and no one would be able to stop him. After a few tense seconds, Sarutobi dismissed Naruto and the council. Naruto left with a smirk and a feeling of satisfaction. End flashback. Naruto made his way to the other end of the training ground, where he had 200 shadow clones trying to combine the Rasengan with his wind and fire affinities. All of a sudden he looked in the distance, and 2 large explosions rose into the sky. He soon received the memories of the clones that had been destroyed in the blasts. The first explosion was from a successful combination of the Rasengan and his wind element, the other was a successful combination of the Rasengan and his fire element. He dispelled all his clones and decided to replicate the results. He made a clone and held out his hand. As he formed a Rasengan, the clone added wind chakra into the Rasengan. The wind-natured Rasengan began to take the form of a large shuriken and screeching loudly similar to a bell. When the new Rasengan was finished, Naruto held it and quickly noticed the jutsu was going to backfire because he didn't have enough chakra control. He tried to throw it, but the jutsu dissipated as soon as it left his hand. He would have to increase his chakra control exponentially to be able to keep the jutsu under control. He would also need to find a way to throw the jutsu, since if he just charged someone with it he would end up hurting himself in the blast. Naruto moved on to the other jutsu. He held out his hand and formed a Rasengan, while a clone added fire chakra to it. The results were very painful since the temperature skyrocketed around the jutsu, and he was having trouble ignoring the pain. When the jutsu was finished, he saw in his hand was a spinning ball of white flames. He hissed in pain as the jutsu cooked his arm and through the technique. Unfortunately, the jutsu didn't dissipate. It exploded once it left his hands. Naruto was sent flying back into the tree and hit his head and fell unconscious. He woke up a few hours later with a massive headache. He got up and went home to bed since he would need the energy tomorrow. Next day. Naruto was currently walking toward a meeting spot for him and his team to talk to their sensei, As he walked, he looked at his badly damaged arm. It was so damaged that it was taking Kurama a long time to fix it. The reason it was taking a long time was because the jutsu had completely cooked his arm down to the bone, and the explosion had all but destroyed his arm. Kurama was working frantically to repair the arm and have it fully functioning. It had taken him the entire night to heal the arm, and it would take him another day to reconnect the nerve endings and chakra pathways in his arm. As Naruto walked, he heard a commotion in the nearby street and decided to investigate. He saw that a kid a little older than him, wearing a pajama suit with cat ears and makeup, was holding up a little kid with a long scarf and spiky hair by the throat. Behind him was a blonde girl with 4 ponytails holding a giant fan. On the other side were 2 kids around the same age as the one getting beat up, and everyone's favorite pink-haired whore, his teammate, Harino Sakura. "Kankuro, stop this, you'll only get him mad," said the blonde girl. "Relax, Temari, I don't sense him here, and this kid needs to learn some manners," replied Kankuro. "Let me go!" exclaimed Konohamaru. "Please let Konohamaru go, he didn't mean to bump into you," begged Sakura. Naruto watched as Kankuro raised his fist to hit Konohamaru, and then all of a sudden a rock hit his hand and forced Kankuro to drop him. Naruto looked up at where the rock came from and saw none other than Konoha's #1 amo, Uchiha Sasuke, sitting up in a tree trying to look cool. What intrigued him was a young redhead behind Sasuke that was doing a good job hiding his presence. "What do you think you're doing, brat?" yelled Kankuro as he nursed his injured hand. "Just sitting here and watching some backwater ninja beat up little kids," said Sasuke with a smirk. Naruto watched a Kankuro turn red in anger and Temari blush looking at Sasuke. Naruto only raised an eyebrow at Temari's blush. "Kami is every girl in the world attracted to emo," thought Naruto. "I wonder what I would look like emo." "Careful what you wish for, kid," said Kurama as he sent mental images of Naruto with dark clothes and black hair sitting in a corner brooding with a horde of fangirls trying to get in his pants. Naruto shivered at the mental images and shook his head to get rid of them and turned his attention back to the confrontation. Kankuro was livid that he had been showed up by a brat, so he pulled out the bandaged object behind him. "You're going to use Crow for this?" asked Temari in surprise. Before Kankuro could answer, the redhead decided to make himself known. "Kankuro, stop it, you're a disgrace to our village," said the redhead in an emotionless voice. Everyone looked shocked at the redhead's sudden arrival. Naruto decided to get closer and activated his chameleon jutsu to stand behind Sakura. As he got closer, he noticed something was off about the redhead and his chakra. "Kid, the redhead, I can feel Shikaku inside him. He's Suna's Jinchuriki," said Kurama. "Interesting. If I can sense Shikaku, shouldn't he be able to sense you?" asked Naruto. "No, Yumokutan bloodline prevent my chakra from leaving you unless you want it to," explained Kurama. Naruto mentally nodded and continued watching the redhead with a new interest. He was pretty sure that he was mistreated in Suna, so he could use that and manipulate him to his side. "Jigara, I was just trying to teach this punk a lesson," said Kankuro with fear in his voice. "Shut up or I'll kill you," said Gaara with no emotion. Kankuro was quiet and didn't speak anymore as Gaara led them away. Sasuke jumped down from the tree and landed in front of the group. "Wait, what's your name?" Sasuke asked Gaara. "My name is Sabaku no Gaara. I am also curious as to know your name," asked Gaara. "My name is Uchiha Sa," Gaara interrupted him. "Not you, the one behind the pink hair girl." "Impressive, usually no one can find me when I am using his jutsu," said Naruto as he deactivated his chameleon jutsu and reappeared behind Sakura, who jumped away in surprise. "My name is Uzumaki Namikaze." "Naruto, I assume you are here for the Chunin exams?" asked Naruto. "That's right, me and my sibling will be in the exams. Will you also be in the exams?" asked Gaara. "That's right, I will be looking forward to seeing if 1 or 9 will be victorious," replied Naruto, while releasing a small amount of Kurama's chakra. Gaara's eyes widened when he realized that Naruto was a Jinchuriki like him. Temari and Kankuro's eyes also widened, since with him here he could jeopardize the plan. "I look forward to killing you and proving my existence during the exam," said Gaara before disappearing in a swirl of sand with his siblings. Sasuke was angry. He had found someone strong that would be a challenge for him, and they are more interested in Naruto. Why would anyone be interested in fighting the Dobe? He was an Uchiha. The Sand Shinobi should have been cowering in fear at his presence, but instead he dismissed him. Sasuke's pride wouldn't take it. When he saw the red-headed Sand Shinobi, he would kill him. Sakura was quiet, not because she was scared, more like trying to solve a puzzle. Naruto had told the redhead his name was Namikaze Uzumaki. Naruto, even though Sakura was weak physically, she wasn't weak academically. She used her vast knowledge and realized Namikaze was the last name of the Yondaime Hokage, and Naruto had just called himself Namikaze. Naruto, why did you call yourself Namikaze? Asked Sakura. Well, Sakura, normally when someone is introducing himself they say their entire name, answered Naruto sarcastically. Cha, don't let him talk to you like that, kick his ass, yelled inner Sakura. Normally Sakura would obey inner Sakura, but she learned to never obey inner Sakura when it came to Naruto because Naruto would end up killing her. I mean, why you would call yourself Namikaze if the only Namikaze was the Yondaime Hokage? You know Haruno for the supposed top kunoichi, you sure are retarded. I call myself Namikaze because my father was the Yondaime Hokage, belittled Naruto. To say she was shocked would be an understatement. She couldn't believe that Naruto was the son of the Yondaime Hokage. If she looked closer she could see that he closely resembled the Yondaime. She hit herself for not realizing sooner. Sasuke on the other hand didn't really care that Naruto's father was the Yondaime. The Namikaze were nothing compared to the Uchiha. Naruto decided he was done playing 20 questions and disappeared in a swirl of leaves to the meeting place. Sasuke and Sakura made their way to the meeting place with Sasuke walking in silence and Sakura asking for a date. Meeting place. After 2 hours of waiting in a bridge, Sasuke and Sakura were bored out of their minds except Naruto, who was keeping himself busy by reading a book about advanced sealing. Kakashi showed up in a puff of smoke, with his trademark "I smile." Yo! Greeted Kakashi. You're late, yelled Sakura. Sorry, I crossed a black cat on the way here and had to go the long way around, said Kakashi while everyone's sweat dropped. Anyway, I'm here to give you these forms. They are entry forms for the Chunin exams. If you decide to enter, you need to show up tomorrow at the academy in room 301, explained Kakashi. Everyone took a form and Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke. Sasuke gave an arrogant smirk as he looked at his form and walked home. Sakura looked worried and scared while following Sasuke. Naruto looked indignant on the outside, but internally was smirking. Next day, Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura were walking through the halls of the academy when they noticed a large group of people gathered around the door. Naruto immediately realized that there was a genjutsu over the sign to confuse contestants, and there were 2 Chunin guarding the doors hinged like genin. He wanted to walk past them because he knew the genjutsu was only here to prevent genin who can't even distinguish a genjutsu from entering the exam. He looked over at Sasuke, who had an arrogant smirk on his face and was walking up to the crowd. Immediately Naruto grabbed Sasuke and covered his mouth before he could reveal the genjutsu. Uchiha, what the hell are you doing? Can't you see that the genjutsu is there to keep the weak teams out? Whispered Naruto. Sasuke pushed himself out of Naruto's grip. Of course I do, dope. What do you take me for, an idiot? Could have fooled me, said Naruto as he walked past the crowd and toward the stairs with a confused Sakura and a scowling Sasuke. As they walked to the right room, they were stopped by a boy a year older than them wearing a green jumpsuit and orange leg warmers. Please wait, are you Uchiha Sasuke? Asked Lee. That's right, what do you want? Replied Sasuke arrogantly. I want to fight you and prove that a genius of hard work can beat a genius of talent, stated Lee enthusiastically. Fine, but you'll just lose like all the other losers in these exams, replied Sasuke smugly. Uchiha, don't underestimate this guy, said Naruto, even though he didn't care if Sasuke got hurt. Sasuke ignored Naruto and got in his Uchiha fighting style stance, while Lee got in his Goken stance. Sasuke started off and tried to do a roundhouse kick, only for it to be blocked easily. Lee then went on the offensive and started giving a barrage of punches and kicks that Sasuke couldn't block. Sasuke jumped back and activated his Sharingan to be able to track Lee's moves. So that is the fabled Sharingan? Asked Lee. That's right, with these eyes you are nothing before me and should just give up now, replied Sasuke arrogantly. No, I cannot give up, I will defeat you and prove I can be a splendid shinobi, stated Lee before disappearing in a blur. Sasuke was able to keep track of his until Lee punched him in the face. Sasuke couldn't believe it, he had been hit, and his Sharingan wasn't able to follow the attack. Lee continued barraging Sasuke with punches and kicks until he kicked Sasuke high in the air and loosened his bandages. He wrapped his bandages around Sasuke and turned upside down while falling straight to the earth, spinning at breakneck speeds. He was stopped by what looked like a pinwheel holding his loose bandages. Lee saw a turtle standing on the other side of the room. Lee immediately released Sasuke from his bandages and kneeled in front of the turtle. Lee, do you know what you have done? That move is forbidden from being used on a fellow Konoha shinobi. I hope you are ready for your punishment, stated the turtle angrily. All of a sudden an exact clone of Lee appeared on top of the turtle. The only difference was that he was taller and wearing a Jonin vest. Lee, I am very disappointed in you. You willingly disobeyed me and performed that move on a comrade of the village, scolded the older Lee clone. But Guy-sensei, I had good RA. Lee was cut off when Guy punched him and sent him flying across the room. You fool! Yelled Guy. There is never a good reason to excuse attacking a comrade. You have greatly diminished your flames of youth. Yelled Guy. Lee gasped and began crying anime tears. I am sorry, Guy-sensei. I will now train 100x harder and strengthen my flames of youth. Yelled the depressed/enthusiastic Lee. That's my student. I couldn't be prouder of you, said Guy as he gave Lee a thumbs up and smiled so brightly that his teeth shined. Lee began crying even more anime tears. Guy-sensei. Guy joined him in crying Lee. They began running toward each other. Team 7 watched in horror at what was unfolding in front of them. Guy-sensei. Lee. Gi-sensei. Lee. They met in the middle and hugged while a sunset genjutsu appeared in the background. Holy shit, what the hell is this? My eyes, they burn. Naruto mentally yelled. Naruto activated his Sharingan to dispel the genjutsu. Screw it if the village finds out about my Sharingan. As long as I stop the genjutsu, I'll be happy. Unfortunately, the Sharingan didn't dispel the genjutsu. It only served to memorize the most horrible experience Naruto ever had. Look away, Kit, look away, yelled Kurama as he tried to dispel the genjutsu by flooding Naruto's body with his chakra, but that too failed miserably. Team 7 immediately left the two clones to their hug and agreed to never speak of the incident again. They walked upstairs to find Kakashi waiting for them at the door. Yo, you made it, and all of you are here, said Kakashi with his signature eye smile. Why would it matter that we would all be here? Asked Naruto. Because the Chunin exams are supposed to be taken as a team, and if one of you wasn't here I wouldn't let you enter, said Kakashi. Naruto and Sasuke frowned. Sakura was relieved. After one last good luck, Kakashi left in a puff of smoke. Team 7 entered the exam room and were immediately barraged by Ki by the other teams. Sakura had trouble breathing, Sasuke was breaking a sweat, and Naruto just shrugged and released his own Ki. The other teams immediately turned the other direction away from Team 7. All of a sudden Sasuke was tackled to the ground by Ino. Did you miss me, Sasuke-kun? Asked Ino while lying on top of Sasuke. Ino pig, get off Sasuke-kun, can't you see that he doesn't like you? Yelled Sakura. Go away, forehead, Sasuke-kun loves me and is probably glad he finally gets to see me, replied Ino. Ino, why do you have to be so troublesome? Shikamaru sighed as he approached with Choji, who was eating chips. Yahoo, it looks like we all made it here, exclaimed Kiba with Akamaru barking in agreement. Yes, it seems our entire graduating class is attending the Chunin exam, said Shino in his monotone voice. Hinata approached from behind her teammates, as shy as ever. Naruto thought that her Jonin sensei would have broken her out of her shy shell. Apparently, whoever her Jonin sensei was, she was just as worthless as Hinata. As Naruto's class talked, Naruto noticed they were gaining a lot of attention from the rest of the room. He also noticed a silver-haired teen with glasses was approaching their group. You guys should be quiet, you're attracting a lot of attention, said the silver-haired boy. Who are you? Asked Sakura. My name is Yakushi Kabuto, replied the teen. Have you taken the exams before? Asked Ino. Actually, I've taken them 7 times already, said Kabuto. Wow, you must suck at this, stated Kiba. Actually, since I have taken these exams for so long, I have been able to collect information about teams and contestants, said Kabuto. Do you have information on Sabaku no Gaara and Rock Lee? Asked Sasuke. Kabuto found a card that showed Gaara. He is the son of the Kazekage and is the teammate of his elder siblings Kankuro and Temari. He's completed 12 C ranks and wow, even 1 B rank. It's also said he completed all the missions without getting a scratch. The rookies were quiet when they learned of such a dangerous foe. Kabuto shuffled his cards until he found the right one. Rock Lee is a member of Team 9. His Jonin sensei is the taijutsu specialist Mato Guy, and his teammates are Hyuga Niji, the Rookie of the Year, and Tenten, the Kunoichi of the Year. He's completed 50 D ranks and 15 C ranks. He is said to be awful at ninjutsu and jinjutsu, but his taijutsu is at least high Chunin level. I should also tell you that this year Konoha had entered 57 teams, Suna 1 team, AIM 21 teams, Kusa, Hidden Grass, 17 teams, and 1 teams from Oto. Although I wouldn't worry about the Oto team, they are a new village and probably don't produce strong shinobi. Naruto snapped his attention to the sound of running coming toward Kabuto. A split second later 3 genin jumped from the crowd and attacked Kabuto. The first genin looked like a mummy, with his entire face covered in bandages and only his right eye was visible. The second genin had a cocky smirk on his face, and he wore a shirt with the kanji for death printed on it. The last genin was a girl with long black hair, obsidian eyes, and wore a sleeveless camouflage shirt and camouflage pants. The one-eyed Oto genin threw a punch at Kabuto which he easily dodged, but Naruto cringed in pain as a sound wave attacked his enhanced ears. Naruto looked up and saw that Kabuto fell to his knees and emptied his stomach. "Don't underestimate Oto, we will definitely advance the Chunin exams and bring glory to our village," said the one-eyed genin. "Yeah, you Konoha weaklings are at the top of the world anymore, now it's Oto's time to shine," stated the other male teammate smugly. Before any of the Konohanin could retort, there was a large puff of smoke in the front of the room and a tall man wearing a trench coat and a Konoha hide covering his head appeared in front of the class. "Alright, sit down and shut up, we will begin the written part of the Chunin exams. You will have 1 hour to complete the 9 questions on the test. After the hour you will be given a final question. Begin." 1 hour later. "If no one else wants to leave, then I only have one more thing to say, you pass," yelled Ibiki. "What? What about the final question?" yelled Kiba. There was no final question. A Chunin must always make difficult decisions during missions with dire consequences. This was a test to see if you could handle the pressure and see it through. "It proves you are Chunin worthy," replied Ibiki. All of a sudden the window to the room was shattered and a banner appeared saying the sexy and single proctor of the second exam, Mitarashi Enko. Naruto felt a groan escaping his mouth because he knew Enko and he wasn't looking forward to the hell she would probably put him through. All the other genin just looked at Enko wide-eyed, not believing that all she was wearing was a coat to cover her modesty. Some wished a breeze would blow the trench coat away and give them a peek as to what she was hiding. Many were already having nosebleed as they fantasized about the scantily dressed Enko. The girls, on the other hand, were having separate reactions. One half of the girls were feeling jealousy toward Enko and her sexy figure and generous assets. The other half were angry that she was showing herself off to the entire room and taking all the boys' attention. "You're just in time, Enko. I was finished with them when you came in," spoke Ibiki. "Good, it looks like there are still 50 teams. You're losing your touch," Ibiki teased Enko. "What can I say, it looks like the candidates this year will be very entertaining," responded Ibiki. "Don't worry, by the time I'm done with them there won't even be half that number of teams," stated Enko with a sinister smirk. "Alright, you bastards, meet me at training ground 44 in 15 minutes or else you fail," said Enko as she jumped back out the window and left toward her favorite playground. Naruto stood up and walked toward his 2 team members. "Follow me, I know where the training grounds are." Both team members nodded and followed Naruto as he made his way out of the testing room and headed toward the Forest of Death. Forest of Death. After arriving at the Forest of Death, Naruto waited in silence until Enko began listing off the rules. "Alright, you gakis, this is the Forest of Death, my personal favorite playground. For the next 5 days the forest will be your home. You will be inside the forest trying to reach the tower located in the middle of the training grounds." Enko then took out 2 scrolls, a white and a blue scroll. "Your objective in the forest is obtaining both scrolls to be able to enter the tower. Each of your teams will get 1 scroll and you have to steal the other from an enemy team." Enko noticed that Naruto wasn't paying attention to a word she was saying. She promptly threw a kunai at Naruto. Naruto surprised her when he caught it and threw it back, causing her to jump away. When she jumped away, her trench coat moved and revealed a full view of her assets to those who looked quick enough to catch her wardrobe malfunction. Immediately genin were thrown back from huge nosebleed and some passed out from blood loss with a perverted smile. Naruto just smirked at the situation he had just caused, while Enko was annoyed that the blonde had caught her off guard like that. She quickly moved behind him and pressed her chest against his back. Naruto stiffened at the close contact, not being used to it. Well, I guess we have a pretty brave little genin, now don't we? It's too bad that this forest has killed a lot of brave genin," said Enko, trying to intimidate Naruto. Naruto smirked and replied with a smug smile before pointing at Kiba, "This forest is a joke, and the animals in it are as harmful as the puppy on the Inuzuka's head. I bet me and my team will be the first to get to the tower. I guess we'll just have to wait and find out if you were strong enough to pass the forest, or just another meal for my pets," replied Enko, as she made her way back to the front of the group. She knew that Naruto wouldn't be intimidated by the forest, but that didn't mean the surrounding genin wouldn't. Enko then motioned for the surrounding Chunin to pass out the death waivers. "Alright, you bastards, these are death waivers stating that if you were to die in the Forest of Death, Konoha is not responsible for your deaths. Once you sign them, you can hand them in and receive your scroll, then you will make your way to your designated gate." After handing in their forms and receiving their heaven scroll, they made their way to gate 59 and waited for the timer to begin. Naruto turned to his teammates. "We will need to stay together. Me and Sasuke will take out the enemy teams. Sakura, you just stay back and make sure we aren't ambushed." The buzzer sounded and the gates swung open. Team 7 rushed inside. The second exam had begun. 30 minutes later. Naruto had used his advanced sense of smell to track one of the other teams. Team 7 waited in the trees overhead as they watched a team from AIM set up traps around their camp. He could tell that they were weak as Sakura, so they wouldn't be much of a challenge. Sasuke was the first to move. He jumped down on the first genin and kicked him hard into a tree. Naruto followed as he appeared behind the second genin before jamming a three-pronged kunai into his throat and watched him bleed out until he died. The last genin as one of his teammates is knocked out and the other is killed by the Konoha team. "Give us your scroll and I might think about letting you go," stated Naruto sinisterly. The AIM genin looked at him in fear and took out a heaven scroll and put it on the floor. "TT there, T that TSS my scroll LL. Now J just let T me G go." Naruto took the scroll before burning it with a small fire jutsu. "Sorry, we already have a heaven scroll. I guess you have nothing to offer." Naruto smiled evilly. Before the AIM genin could beg for his life, Naruto threw a wind-enhanced three-pronged kunai into his head, killing him instantly. "Naruto, you didn't have to kill him," berated Sakura. "Sakura, in these exams we are enemies, and if besides the proctor said we could kill, so I'm going to take advantage of that," said Naruto as he finished with an evil smirk that caused Sakura to shudder. "Let's get going, we still need to find an earth scroll," said Naruto as he jumped into the tree. "Sasuke-kun, why didn't you stop Naruto from killing him?" asked Sakura to her crush. "Why should I care if the dobe kills some trash from a rival village?" replied Sasuke with a shrug. Sakura just lowered her head in disappointment at her teammates' low morality. She then began following them as Naruto locked onto another team's scent. About 1 hour later, they hid behind some bushes as they spied on a team from Kusa. They didn't spy for too long since a red-headed girl with red eyes, glasses, and brown shinobi attire sensed them. "There's someone behind those bushes," she yelled at her teammates. Her teammates threw shuriken into the bushes. Team 7 jumped from the bushes into the trees. Sakura stayed back on the tree as Naruto and Sasuke engaged the Kusa team from behind. "Karen, where are they?" asked the Kusa genin. Karen closed her eyes and scanned the area. "They're behind you." The Kusa genin turned around just in time to stop Naruto's kunai. The genin turned in time to stop a kick to his solar plexus from Sasuke. Naruto and the Kusa genin fought for dominance. Naruto smirked while the other scowled. Naruto decided he was tired of playing around and channeled wind chakra through his kunai. The three-pronged kunai cut through the other kunai like a hot knife through butter. The Kusa genin couldn't dodge in time and was slashed by Naruto's kunai. He looked at his injury and saw it was a really deep wound and he was bleeding a lot. He fell to his knees bleeding as Naruto approached and positioned a kunai at his throat. "Any last words?" asked Naruto. "Yeah, fuck you," yelled the Kusa genin. "You're brave, not begging or pleading for your life. Just for that I'll give you a quick death." Naruto then quickly stabbed him in the heart, killing him instantly. Sasuke was currently engaged in a taijutsu battle with the Kusa genin. Sasuke smirked as he was able to easily push the genin back and make him struggle. Sasuke then saw that Naruto was done with his kill and moved to end his fight. He started to speed his attacks up and landed a chakra-enhanced kick to the genin's stomach, sending him flying back toward tree. Sasuke watched as he flew toward the tree and heard a loud snap. The Kusa genin then slumped over dead since his spine had snapped from the force of hitting the tree. Karen watched as her two teammates died, but she really didn't care about them. They had always hated Karen for holding them back. She would always support them from the back because she wasn't a frontline fighter. They hated her for that because they thought she was a burden to the team. Even her sensei thought she was a burden holding back two promising shinobi. Naruto searched the genin's pockets until he found an earth scroll. "Yes, this is the right scroll. Now let's head to the tower before anyone else can get there," said Naruto, as he tossed the scrolls to him for safekeeping. Naruto turned to look at Karen, expecting to see sadness, anger, depression, or fear. What he didn't expect to see was indifference, happiness, relief, and satisfaction. He was confused until he realized that she must have hated her teammates. The look on her face was the same look on his face whenever he killed a villager that tried to attack him when he was younger. The satisfaction that the person who hated and scorned you died a horrible death in front of you. "You guys go ahead, I want to check if I can get some supplies from their bodies. I'll catch up to you later." Naruto lied since he wanted to be alone and tried to recruit Karen to his side. He could see that she probably had a gifted sensory ability and would make a valuable addition to his forces. Sasuke just shrugged as he jumped on a tree and headed ahead. Sakura frowned, leaving the girl alone with Naruto. She already knew Naruto's moral compass wasn't pointing north. She hoped he wouldn't do anything that revealed his moral compass pointed completely south. Sakura, after a moment of thinking, decided to trust Naruto and went to catch up to Sasuke. Naruto stood in the clearing in front of a kneeling Karen. Karen noticed he was just standing there looking at him. Well, aren't you going to take their supplies? Asked Karen. No, I have plenty of supplies. Aren't you going to scream at me for killing your teammates? Replied Naruto. Karen shook her head. I hated those two. They would always leave me behind and insult me just because I wasn't the fighting type. I'm more of a support type of shinobi since I have a strong sensory ability. Interesting. So what are you going to do now that your team is dead? Asked Naruto. I have no idea. My sensei will probably just toss me aside now that his 2 prized students are dead. Well, you could come with me if you want, Naruto said as he rubbed his chin. Karen looked at him skeptically. You mean join Konoha? Naruto laughed. No, I mean join me as a partner. I'm going to leave this weak village soon and I could use powerful and useful allies. Karen scanned his chakra for any deceit or malice. When she scanned, she was surprised with what she sensed. Her ability was that she was able to tell what kind of person someone is by their chakra. She could also sense chakra from far away and heal using her blood. She could sense that Naruto's chakra was dark, evil, cold, and hateful. When she looked deeper, she could feel a tiny part of his chakra was bright, good, and warm, but it was rapidly being eaten up by the dark chakra. She knew that Naruto must have been a good and caring person when he was younger, but then some event must have caused the seeds of hate to spread and slowly consume his nice and caring chakra. She decided reluctantly to trust him since she really had nothing to lose if she trusted him. Alright, I'll join you, but I can't really leave safely. The other teams and animals will kill me, said Karen. Naruto chuckled and threw a Hiraishin kunai on the ground. Don't worry, I have a way of getting out of the forest. Just grab my hand and I can drop you off at my compound. Naruto held out his hand and Karen hesitantly grabbed it. Naruto then concentrated on a Hiraishin kunai at his compound and disappeared in a yellow flash. Namikaze's compound. Naruto and Karen reappeared back at his compound in a yellow flash. Welcome to my home. Go ahead and take one of the bedrooms upstairs. If you want to use the training grounds in the backyard, stay away from the fence since it will kill anyone that it doesn't recognize that gets close. Anyway, I should probably get back since I still have an exam to finish, said Naruto. Wow, this place is huge. Are you from a rich clan? Asked Karen. Yeah, this is the Namikaze clan compound. It was left for me by my father, the Yondaime Hokage, Namikaze Minato, replied Naruto. Karen was shocked to find out that he was the son of the Yondaime Hokage, and even more shocked when she remembered he wanted to leave the village. You're the son of the Yondaime Hokage, then why would you want to leave? The villagers must love you. Naruto's face saddened a bit. The villagers don't love me, in fact it's the opposite, they all hate me. Why? Asked Karen. Because before my father died he sealed the Kyuubi in me and told the old monkey Sarutobi to tell the villagers I contained the Kyuubi and I'd be treated like a hero, replied Naruto. Naruto continued. The villagers always viewed me as the Kyuubi instead of just the container. When I was 6 years old I was chased into an alley by some drunks and almost killed. Wow, that's horrible, but did the Sandaime do anything? Asked Karen. Naruto's face turned angry. No, the old monkey just stood by and watched it happen. He would always lecture me about forgiving the villagers that attacked me, and would release the same villagers with a slap on the wrist. That bastard could have kept his mouth shut and not told the village. I could have been adopted and had a family, but it was all ruined by the Sandaime and his stupidity, yelled Naruto as he lost his temper. I'm sorry, said Karen apologetically. Naruto's face softened. It's alright, I was just angry and lost my temper. Although one good thing did come out of the Sandaime's stupidity. What? Asked Karen. While the drunks tried to kill me in the alley when I was 6, I passed out and met Kyuubi. He decided to help me get my revenge on the villagers and has been helping me ever since. He's been training me since I was 6 and was my first friend, replied Naruto. I'm touched, kid, said Kurama with fake tears. Naruto mentally laughed. Shut up, furball. Anyway, I told you my story. Hopefully I can hear yours when I get back from the exams. See you later, Karen-chan. Naruto waved as Karen blushed at the honorific he gave her. Alright, by Naruto-kun. Karen put her hand over her mouth as she blurted a personal honorific with Naruto's name. Naruto only laughed as he disappeared in a yellow flash. As Naruto left, he left Karen thinking maybe he can still be saved from that darkness that is eating away at him from the inside. Maybe one day that warm, good chakra will push back and replace that dark, evil chakra that resides in him, thought Karen. Since the whole conversation she had been watching his chakra. Through the conversation, she noticed that the bright, warm chakra was slowly fighting back against the dark, evil chakra. Don't worry, Naruto-kun, I will save you from the darkness, I promise,